Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to another Saturday. You've reached the Synth Geekery show. Yep, episode 236. And if this is the first time you've ever seen it, well then you've got a bit of a back catalogue to catch up on, if you dare. But what do? We talk about this stuff. Synths, drum machines, sequencers, samplers, music tech, mixers, audio interfaces, even DAWs. And we are going to be talking about Ableton 12. I've got the beta to test out here, but it's not going to be the whole show. So tell your friends who are scared that because they don't like Ableton, or they've got Cubase, or they're like fanboys of Logic or whatever. Tell your friends that it's not going to be the whole show. It's only going to be about 20 minutes that we'll talk about it, and that's going to be a little bit later down the track in our Saturday Sonority section. But let's cover the stuff that we usually talk about at the start of the show, and that is big thank you for all the video guests who are just piling on in at the moment to joining the show. So if you do want to be we'll call you a talkback caller. That's a good radio term, right? If you want to be a talkback caller today, you don't even have to show your camera if you don't want to. You can just use your mic. You can join us on Zoom, and it is free to join on Zoom. There's no application subscription for this app. You guys probably use Zoom during the COVID pandemic. So that's the link if you just want to use it in your browser, or if you've got the app, which I do recommend, that's probably better to use the app. You can join on in, and I'll keep an eye out on those who are joining. You can come and go as you please. I am completely fine with it. It's more interactive if you're part of the show that way, so please join. And yeah, if you want to support the show, of course, it's always nice of you guys to hit the subscribe and the thumbs up and all that sort of likes and that sort of stuff. But even better if you can become a channel member. I really appreciate channel membership. Got some channel membership stuff coming up really, really soon that all of you channel members are going to love. And there's going to be some channel member perks and Patreon perks coming up. So I'm just kind of trying to build the membership a bit at the moment. It's still a little bit on the quiet side. So once I get a certain amount, it becomes a little bit more justified for me to do these things. So tell your mates. And Patreon link is obvious. That ranzee.patreon.com is how you can get to it. So try that one. The other way you can support us here is subscribing to all the callers. And their channels and their links and things like that. But also we have our own music. We are musicians, so you could buy CDs, you can buy digital downloads through Bandcamp. These are just some of the albums that I have released over the years, and my latest one, which came out late last year. Focus camera, there you go. So go check it out. Now, actually, speaking of Gates, which is obviously my latest, and people are thinking to themselves, I haven't got the CD yet. Well, you can get these now. So hit us up if you want to order one of those. I'll try and get Ian to get a link in Bandcamp so you can get it through there. But if you want to get it directly through me, that's fine. Just hit me up and I'll organize it for you. There's a couple of those who have purchased my album last year, the digital version through Bandcamp. You guys are going to be in for a surprise because I have a new track that's going to be put in there, and it's not Gates, it's just an extra track. And also you're going to get a reprise version of one of the Gates tracks. I'm not going to tell you which one it is. I want you guys to get a surprise for the reprise. Oh geez, we won't do jokes. So yeah, that will be coming out during the week, so do check out your inboxes. You'll probably all get emails to go check it out. So we'll talk about it next week anyway. So anyway, let's get on with the show and let's have a look who we've got. We've got a couple of blank spots here this week. I think Ian's not in, but that's all right. We can add Zoom callers in and chatties in as we get it. And we've got Andy from the United States, and we've got Chris, who's just down the road. Probably could hear me shouting actually. And we've got Eddie from the UK. How are you, mate? What I'll do is I'll put while we've got you guys up, I might put chatties in. Who's not here? Darren, that one. Where is Darren? Darren hasn't been here for a couple of weeks. I hope he's all right. He has sent me a few messages left, but he wasn't well a few weeks ago. And so I do hope he's actually...
He wasn't kidnapped by Rave Dave. So.
I hope he hasn't been, because, it could be quite...
He's been mugged.
Purple Man can be quite violent, That's what I've heard. Anyway, let's get some chatties in there. So we've got some chatties, and I don't know... while we're waiting for people, come on guys, join. There's 2 people on Zoom. Surely you guys can join Zoom. Seriously, just join with your audio if you want. I really don't mind. I'll put a synth in there instead. What? Oh, hang on, Darren is here. Darren is here, and he's probably thinking to himself, "What are you talking about? I'm here."
Yeah, he's probably saying, "You daft buggers."
Yeah, you spaz. What are you talking about?
You guys know what you're doing.
You're an absolute git. There you go. Look at that. He's here. He's just late. That's all.
I'm late. Blimey, my a little
Darren,
bit pixelated.
You know what, Darren? Darren, I would like you to try an experiment for me. If that's pixelated, can you try zoom out? The link is pinned in the chat of the YouTube stream. And if that isn't pixelated, then we'll know that vMix doesn't love you. You can leave the vMix call connected. It shouldn't make too much difference from your end, but you can try it out.
Okay, I may have a little bit of a problem here because my OS isn't allowing me. It's only allowing me to run certain things now because I'm not updated.
Oh, okay. Well, just leave it as it is, mate. That could be the reason why it's pixelated. Yeah. It's because you're just.
I need to change. I need a new computer, which I'm saving up for.
It's because you're in the dark ages, isn't it, mate?
I'm in the dark ages, yeah.
That's no way to talk about England.
We're in the dark ages.
I didn't say the Black Plague. I just said the dark ages.
We're in a prison colony.
Apparently. Who picked the thumbnail this week? Did anyone pick it? Anyone pick anything about the thumbnail?
Kind of Mid-Journey.
Oh, Mid-Journey. You've done well, Chris. It was Mid-Journey.
I didn't notice it at first, but when I was looking at it, I went, "Hang on a sec. Rant is playing silly buggers with us.
Yeah.
Inventing synths that don't really exist. What's he trying to do?" At first I thought it might have been Ableton Live 12 synths that you've tried to turn into physical synths.
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to do, or was that just...
What I'm trying to get you to do is I might try to get you to come a bit closer to your mic if you can, bud, because
How about that?
Yes. Get a bit more intimate with your microphone.
I can also turn that up a bit as well. So this is me talking normally. How's that?
All right. Well, who wants to go first? Tell us how the week's been. Darren, you've been a while. Been away a while. You ready?
Am I ready? Yeah, my week's been... I don't actually know what my week's been. Just a normal week. Nothing to really sort of say, really. Still working on my live rig, which if anyone's on Facebook or on my Facebook, should I say, you may tomorrow get a picture or sneaky peek of the actual live rig. More sort of looking how it should do, let's put it that way. The live set's sort of finished. I've just got to do lots of MIDI programming. That's about it, really. I'm recovering from... I was just not well for the past couple of weeks. Don't know what it was, but...
sorry to hear that, mate.
Just not 100%, so... But I'm all right now, I'm fine, so...
You're better now? Good.
Yeah, I'm fine now. So, yeah, basically messing about with the live set, I think. Not had a chance to do much else. But yeah, so I might... there might be sneaky... Oh, well, I think I put a video out last week and the week before when I was ill. Just some tracks that are either oncoming or they might even be in the live set. Who knows? But yeah, I think that's my week. It's been quite just a normal week of messing about with my live rig. Other than that, I haven't really done a great deal.
Well, that's good, and I'm glad you're feeling better because we did miss you. The show isn't the same without you, buddy.
Without the dark room slowly going darker and darker?
I don't know. Like
I don't know.
You're an original Synth Geekery, member. So it's what can I say? It's nice. We thought we'd lost you.
We thought, would it be rude?
No, I'll text you when you've lost me.
I don't know how that's going to work. All right, who wants to go next? Quick, pick one.
I'll go.
Chris?
I'll go. Hey everyone.
I still think you're a bit quiet. Is it just
Am I
me?
still a bit quiet? Ooh,
Yeah.
Why would that be happening?
He's a wee bit
Because
quiet,
I've
lad.
Gone and screwed up the. Oh yes, it selected the wrong audio. Do you want me to disconnect and reconnect so you can hear me, and perhaps someone else should have a go?
All right, I'll go to Andy. Okay. Cool. Andy, you're up.
Hey. So you guys know what I've been up to. Although I did bring back one gift from Nam, which was Namthrax. I got a cold.
Oh.
Ah, dearie me.
So it's all right. It's just been a few days. It's going away. I may mute once in a while for coughing, but
At least you didn't COVID,
this is
right?
what happens. Yeah, it's still not COVID. I still haven't gotten that, but it is what it is. I mean, I did go to 2 NAMs in a row, not counting this year, and didn't get sick. And I went to Synthplex and didn't get sick, but hey, it just happens. So happens when you cover the whole show for 4 days, every nook and cranny, you're bound to get something, right? Some people just go to like the synth area or the guitar area, and that's it. But I covered the whole goddamn thing for 4
You'd
days.
have to be.
So, plus
You'd have
the
to be
book thing.
really careful, I reckon, Andy. You'd have to be like sanitizing your hands every 5 minutes.
Oh yeah. Well, I was last year because it's the first year mask off on with anything, right? So I was careful about touching things and touching my face and spraying sanitizer, the alcohol spray in my hands constantly and stuff. So that helped obviously, but you can still get it, right in your face, aerosolized from someone's mouth or from a sneeze across the area. But so I got lucky, I guess, because I finally got something. But it's not a big deal. It's just a little congestion for a while. I'm coughing a little bit, but it's not miserable. So it's already getting better. So
That's good. And a quick sort of summary of what you thought of the whole thing. Like what was
well,
was
if you
your
didn't
sort of
count the
overall-
Buchla event, it was definitely low on synths. There were some good releases like the third wave module, Area Touch 2, a bunch of cool little things here and there that were
So
nice.
which
The
is
Suit
better?
and Tie Guy Vanilla synth was really nice. Musonics thingy, but in general, not a lot of groundbreaking stuff, but just fun and just hanging out with people and meeting new people and just being there. I mean, I'm an expo junkie going way back to Macworld and SIGGRAPH and Seabold and all kinds of stuff. So I like expos no matter what. But to have gear you can play with, and then I have an excuse to go down there and also play with my favorite stuff in the music store. I did a tour of Perfect Circuit I put up. You guys have probably seen that.
I did.
So
I
I go see
enjoyed
my
that.
cousins occasionally and down there. Yeah, it's an amazing store because it's beautiful, it's succinct, it's all nicely stacked in a small area, and they have weird stuff like Seat Lombard and
Well,
weird. They have
that's
stuff
what
there,
makes
they
them
have
what they are. I reckon having all that sort of hard to get stuff is what
Totally, yeah.
I reckon those guys are probably very similar to us. They just and they've got the ability to source the gear, and that's
Oh yeah.
kinda,
Plus they put candy out. You can actually eat candy and play with synths. They don't give a shit about sticky fingers, right?
That's
So-
right. That's kind of what makes that place kind of really cool because you've got the candy, you've got you've got eye candy, and you've got real candy. It's
Exactly. Yeah. And you saw the 2 giant walls of modulars. I mean, they have all that to play with too if you want to
Yeah.
get the bug.
But it's also they've also got little sort of modular stations as well. Like they've got an analog
stations, yep.
solutions one. They've got a dope for one. Yeah, it's quite cool what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll have systems. They'll have when the Make Noise had their little system come out, they had that there. They had that I finally got a chance to play that IntelliGel all-in-one system, which is really
the
cool.
Cascadia.
The IntelliGel system. Yeah, that's very nice.
Yeah, that thing has got me gassed so bad.
It's cool.
It is.
And literally without anything patched, you can just make some crazy stuff right off the bat. It's
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah, I kind of feel like there'll be certain people that will just think, oh, this thing's limited, but for people in the know, when you actually add up all of those modules, if you were to buy them as separate modules and what they can do, it's insanely well priced. That thing, it's actually pretty cool.
why
envelope
it's my favorite
followers and
score. I mean,
what do you call them? The adders. All these little extra little bits and pieces in it anyway. So no, it's cool. I really enjoyed those videos. Keep them coming, man. You'll find your subscribers will slowly enjoy that sort of regular stuff. I like it. I like the Star Wars thing and
40 or something. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, you're getting there. I was there once.
Nowhere near monetized, but it's still having fun. So it's okay.
Yeah. I seriously, I was there once. I mean, my first video that I put up on YouTube was a coffee table jam, where I literally put all my synths on a coffee table because I just wanted to find out, like, if I want to sit there on my lounge and watch TV, what can I fit on the coffee table in front of me and kind of watch TV and then jam at the same time? And it ended up being a video, and actually it was good fun. And that's kind of what started me. It was probably the worst music you've ever heard. Made your ears bleed.
I think I first found you with the JDXI Secrets video or something like that, which is really good. So.
Oh yeah, I used to pull that thing through its paces. That's for sure. Yeah. I mean, it was pretty cool, that product, when you think about it. Like the JDXA and the JDXI, when they both came out at the same time, they were kind of like the first Roland analog synth for years. They hadn't brought an analog synth out for years, and we're not talking. I know they brought out the System 500, but that wasn't really them. That was Maleco that did that. So that under their direction. But this was actually really a Roland analog synth, and what I actually was I was intrigued. Like, how are they doing this? Is this kind of another one of their ACB tricks? And I really put it through its paces because I just wanted to really see. How good was it? And it ended up being quite well implemented.
You dared to menu dive and pull out some tricks, so.
Yeah. And then we were able to. There's a mate of mine called Arlo who built the JDXI manager. He did that in Linux and did it in C++, and it still gets hits today. Like, people love that thing that he wrote. And all he did is he reverse engineered everything through SysX, through MIDI monitoring.
Nice.
It would have just been painful, but I don't know. Maybe he was bored.
Cool.
Anyway, we should breeze on. Who else? We got Chris.
Yeah, thanks.
Is Chris back?
Am I back? I should be
Tap it.
too loud now.
Tap it. Yeah, it's definitely that mic, but I still feel you're quiet. Is it just me?
Still quiet? Okay. How about now? Is that good? Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Tap 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 tap.
I think you could come up. I don't know. There's nothing. I mean, I could probably
So
pump
I'm
you up
usually
here.
Too hot, so that's interesting.
Do I have anything on your channel, on your plugins?
Check that I am definitely connected right now.
Any
Connected
compressors? No.
I have changed something. I took off echo cancellation, but auto gain is still on. So I have changed something on my end because I was trying to get the stream back in stereo. Remember?
Yeah.
I mentioned last week. Yeah.
But that stereo thing should be. That stereo thing should be you sending me stereo as opposed to. Getting it in stereo.
I meant that that the echo cancellation has been said to mono out your stream back, so that it's easier to compare it against your microphone, which is also in mono. So people have said that if you turn on noise cancellation, it might force your audio to go mono in your headphones because it's looking for cancellation, but it doesn't know that I've got headphones on. So.
Well, I've got you on automatic gain control.
Yep.
Let's see what that does to you.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I pumped you up to plus 16 dB just then, and yeah. Okay. So you're way under.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Yeah. Better now.
Okay. Okay, good. Okay. Is everyone sick of seeing me now?
All right.
Anyway,
let's keep going.
Back to our normal programming. Yeah, this week. Well, unfortunately, I opened my wallet again. I've
Excitement.
purchased a Behringer Cobalt expander,
Oh, nice.
which is coming my way next week.
The morphing
From Victoria.
waveforms.
Yes. So that'll
And
be
that crazy
fun to
filter
play
too.
with. The crazy filter, and I know exactly what I'm going to play with first when I get it. I'm going to hook it up to that 960 sequencer
Okay.
and have fun with it that way.
Yeah.
I thought maybe I could try some of the dual lines type thing with the parallel.
What
AV
sequences do
channels.
you have here? I'm just thinking because the Cobalt expander, the Jean-Michel Jarre and what was his name? Michael Gis was the guy that used it more, and he used the Matrix sequencer on it, which was kind of more like a the 960 would be way sort of primitive, you know.
Yeah.
It's probably
You
more
mean
like
something a bit more like a Circlone or something?
well, yeah,
like
but more like what you can do with your GP82.
okay.
Maybe even more fancy. Probably, you know, if you got a BeatStat Pro, you could
Yeah, well,
probably
that's sitting here as well, but
Yeah.
I'll probably have to move that in order to put the Cobalt somewhere. So
yeah. So
to do.
I mean, I'll definitely have fun with the 960. There's no stopping that.
I just
but-
thought I'd try that first.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
This is my thinking. Anyway. Yeah, and the other thing I have flashing over here, I might just do a little thing, is that over there, that flashing. Oh God, here we go. Poor old.
Just added Jim in, by the way, from Zoom. Yep, keep talking.
Okay, that this thing flashing here, which doesn't look so impressive because it's far away. That is the Bella Gliss.
Oh
Which
yeah,
is doing its thing. So
pretty
I've
flashy.
Yeah, I don't know. Is the B camera working? I think it's probably gone to funny bars.
B
on the-
cameras on bars at the moment. Yep.
Yeah, okay. I don't know why it's done that. My GoPro decided it doesn't want to transmit vision.
I
It
get
was like
that.
it was
My
at the beginning,
GoPro
so
goes.
Otherwise, yeah.
My
I've
GoPro
turned it off
goes
and on.
hot.
Oh, maybe that's what it's doing. I don't know.
Yeah, the battery gets hot.
Very strange. It says it's doing stuff. It's very odd. I suspect it may be Zoom is now upset with it. Yeah. Another time. It was an experiment. I thought maybe I could get 2 cameras going in here so that people could actually see what I'm talking about. Because the lighting, I can get the lighting a lot more appropriate for using the B camera. We'll keep on persisting and doing more experiments. I've got
Persist.
something yes, persist. We shall
Persist, Amondo.
and we shall conquer. Yes. So the Bella Gliss is there. I'm having a bit of fun with it. I have to admit, the first time I started getting it to dance around and do flashy lights things, I did let off a little squeak. I confess, because it is very pretty. It's pretty. It's
Did you
very
sample
cool
that?
what they've. No, it's very cool what they've done with the just having the LEDs shining through that spirally sort of pattern, that sort of echelons, really looks cool. So clever design there, because it is very simple. It's just a mask that it's flashing it through that makes it look really kind of organic. Anyway, yep. So that's working well. I needed to do a bit of menu diving to get the air to the menu system because I could not fathom what that was until I read their explanation. But it only took me about an hour of reading that, and then I'd got it. So yep. So that's going well. So the Gliss, me and my friend have been working on the Cable Monster.
Yeah.
That's what we're calling it anyway. At the
Cable
moment,
Monster.
that's the Cable Monster, yes. It may change. We have a bunch of other names, but I just thought I'd throw that one out there and see if it sticks. We're changing the plastic that we're using for the base because we want to use something that's going to not warp when you basically post it through the postal system, and it sort of sits on a hot tarmac in the UAE or something like that. So change the material there. We'll also change the material we're making the handles out of to make them stronger and more indestructible. And I've made a few sort of design tweaks and finessing, and we're just getting the whole thing into a nice finished product. I think people did ask what prices it might be. We're thinking about between 20 and 40 US dollars is around about probably the good market for compared to the ones, which don't work very well at all. Those ones, they do go.
What's the name of that thing? I always forget the name of that thing. A crimper. Is it a crimper?
I could call it an IDC crimper. I think.
Yeah,
if you
I'm pretty sure they call it a crimper.
Yeah, if you go into AliExpress, you'll find a bunch of them. They range between cheaper prices like $10 all the way up to 40 Australian dollars. But what do you get when you order a $10 one? I'm not sure if the metal's going to be as thick.
A crimp tool.
Yeah.
So we got a pretty close.
I'm not sure about $10 is particularly representative. But,
yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, you probably can. But yeah, in the same sort of ballpark as that, as the people mentioned, that would probably be the way to go. I did a bit more work on my kick player, which is the thing over there that runs on the lich. I'll do this again. The lich over there. That's my kick maker.
Yeah.
And that I've got that so it's now can do presets. You've got different presets that you can select between, and I simplified some of the knobs so that you can actually kind of perform it and stuff like that, which is making it a lot better. I've got different kinds of kick patterns now, so you can play different kick patterns and select them, and it also sends out an additional trigger now for a snare signal. So now it's actually almost playing a full rhythm track. I can, if we have time tonight, I can show you.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
So
we'll have time.
We'll see how we go.
All right.
But, yeah,
so it's becoming almost like a marbles.
It is becoming a bit marbly, but not. It's very specific to my needs, so it's perhaps a little bit more specific.
All right. Awesome. All right, we keep going. We'll keep going because Jim's joined us.
We've got stuff. Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, hey.
The benefits of having Zoom, and he's in already, and his camera's on the right thing. Look, we can even go full screen on him. I can't do titles yet. I've asked the vMix company to do titles, and they've said, "Oh, it's a great idea." And I'm like, "Why didn't you think of it?" Anyway, how are you, Jim?
I'm okay. A bit overexposed, I think.
That's the Zoom side of things, I think. Yeah, I don't know what I can do from here. I might be able to do something. Let me have a quick look. Can I do? Oh, I can color adjust. Hang on, what do we got here? We can turn the whites down. Oh, that's the other way. Turn the blacks up. No. Auto it. No, that doesn't do anything. Saturation. Hey, look.
Hey, he's gone 60s.
Yeah,
Quite
like that.
What's white in your room? Is your shirt white?
Yeah, it's kind of cream, which I don't normally wear. So
I'll just pick. Is your wall white? We'll just pick that. Oh, it's just made you worse. No, we won't do that. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Alpha? No, that's just made you look dull. And you're definitely not dull. Let's just leave it. It's probably your end that you're going to have to play with.
Yeah, I think so.
How are you, mate? You good? Haven't been
okay.
Here for a while, so it's nice to have you.
I know. Normally, I'm doing sort of taxi service and stuff, which I am going to have to duck out and go and do in like a quarter of an hour or whatever. But I just thought I'd pop in and say hello. But, yeah, I've been meaning to come on for a while, especially as I'm now getting more into this stuff.
Yeah. I heard. Robbie told me that you'd bitten the gambit.
Yeah. I have to say, it sounds fucking great, though.
I know. It's a new world, mate.
Couldn't have put it better myself.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm in love with that 4MS ensemble oscillator. It's
yeah.
Oh, the things you can do with that. It's just raucous. Really versatile as well. Yeah.
I like to say, Jim, that we're in before the desktop synths and the keyboard synths get this gear. Do you know what I mean? Like, Eurorack is the cutting edge of the world. It's where we try the stuff out before the real world gets it.
I have to say, though, that nothing still compares to the Electron stuff in terms of getting ideas down quickly.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
So the combination of the two, get some cool, raucous, weird sounds on the modular and combine it with the Electron stuff.
That's nice. I have checked out your EMOM, the one, especially the one that you did with Nick and the Sonic State people,
Oh yeah.
and that got a lot of people, saying nice things. So well done on that, mate. That was awesome.
Oh, cheers. Cheers. Have you seen the
Yeah,
New
Jim, I
Year's-
have to apologise.
Do you? What for?
I don't want you to copyright me or anything, because I was watching some of your live stuff while I was ill, actually, while I wasn't so good. So I was and there's something I'm not going to say, but you were playing something in one of your lives. I think it might have been the New Year one. Can't remember. And I was listening to my the Life We Live album, and you were playing something, and it triggered off, and I thought, oh, I quite like that. So I've sneaked it and sampled it, but I'll only be playing it in my live sets.
Cool.
It's not a full thing. It's just it's just a couple of sounds. That's all. But I think you might quite like it because I've turned it into a track for The Life We Live. So it's
Excellent.
blended into the live set. I won't be putting it out as a track, but it'll be in a live set if I ever play live. So it'll be in that.
Oh,
So
excellent.
just to apologise for nicking your little sound.
No worries. I loved your Blackpool live set that you did, and I heard it again on Ian's podcast the other week as well, when he's doing like compilation of live stuff. It's just awesome. I was just put it on.
Well,
like, who's this? This is rather good. And then I'm like, oh, it's Darren.
Yeah, and the sneaky bugger got a Akai Force, didn't he? Without any one of us knowing about it. Hey, slipped it under the radar.
Sneaky
Well,
man.
what I was going to say is, I've got the new set, a new hour set. Jim's tracks in there. Whether I get to play it depends on how long I'm playing for. But the track that I've created from what I heard when I was listening to Jim's live set, it's only a small bit, but I think Jim will get it because it's. All I'm going to say is it's called The Pulse. If I release it as a track, which I won't, but it would be called The Pulse. But that's in the live set. Whether I get to play it, 'cause it's a new set, a new hour and a half set. So I'll be playing at Blackpool this March.
Excellent. Well, Darren, I'm honoured that someone thinks I'm good enough to sample. So
It was just completely out of the blue. I was sat there listening to my album, I heard this, and I thought, I've got an idea, and I like this little sound that you've created, and I thought I'm going to use it. I don't think he'll mind, but I'll tell him anyway.
oh, cool. Nice one.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, we're going to go across to Eddie, who also has joined us from Zoom. And you guys can join us from Zoom too if you want. You just click on this link that's underneath him. It's also pinned in the chat. So, how are you, mate? It's nice to have you again.
Thank you very much. It's very nice to be here and to be welcome. Thank you.
Any use from your world?
Nothing really relevant, apart from I had a very mind-blowing experience digging on my very old gear. I don't know if you remember, one in the collection is my Trinity. Because it's broken, I had to start building patches from scratch. If anybody says that keyboard was ever a Rompler, I'm gonna slap him in the face. It's deep. I don't understand 75% of the parameters it has available to design sounds. It's bonkers. I'm in awe of it. It's really deep, that thing.
Are we getting a name that synth, perhaps coming from that world? You know, you were like you were the good name that synth guy at the first, weren't you?
Good. First point, Trinity was already out. I'm happy to do it again, but Trinity is already there. Second, if I was doing it, I would not tell you. Wink, wink.
We'll take that as a nudge, nudge, say no more.
Yeah, man.
Fair enough, man. Oh, that's good that you got the Trinity out. I like that. That's awesome, man. Awesome. Hey, we got to get going with the show because, wow,
let's do it.
Been half an hour already.
Just one question.
Sorry.
Can you hear this?
No.
Good. Go on. Keep on. Let's do it.
Okay. So, we have to say hi to the chatties first, which I think I might have forgotten to do that a couple of weeks back. So I do apologise. Sometimes we get busy in the show. But anyway, Hello to everyone in the chat. Brett Lemmings, ASIO Head, QRDNK, Robbie Puricelli's there from ProSynth Network, as you guys know, is Failed Muso. Wagoo, hello Mr. Wagoo. And I think the first person that was in was, I think it's Sim, S-I-M, but I don't see him in chat right now. Maybe he just joined early and left in disgust. I'm not sure. Anyway, Madcat, or Josh, I should say, is there. Big hello to you, mate. Kent is there, lurking. He's, I don't know, working on some vocoder or something, screaming at it. Big hello to you, mate. And if you're wondering who these awesome people are with the little stars next to their name, they're our channel members, and the channel members are royalty in this channel. So big shout out to people like Kent and Inverted Popes, who is our illustrious moderator, and anyone else who has still got the channel member gong next to the name. So big awesome for that. Kissing the Machines there. Lady Aptitude Babs is there, cracking the jokes. G'day to you, mate. Paul Holmes is there. Prometheus is there. Pat Brady, Chris Jeffrey. Really, really good grouping of people today. And I was actually worried at first. I didn't think we were going to get that many people. But that's good. That's nice. And I think there's a few others who are sort of just popping in now as I'm saying hello to everyone. So yeah, stick around if you can. We have quite a lot of news to talk about this week. And we've also got some memes, which I'm going to do right now. Yes, this is how you use a keyboard for VST users, if you're wondering. You just whack the keyboard on top and whack the mouse on top. Although that was quite good, you know, bit of a stab for those people who don't like that sort of stuff. What else do we have here? Durian, the new CD's out. You don't have to travel to Malaysia to get it. You can have the stinky fruit in your CD player if you like.
Stinky and dangerous if it hits you too.
Oh my god! Have you guys ever smelt a durian? They are the stinkiest.
I had one.
Fortunately, yes.
Yeah, I bought one here a long time ago.
People say to me, "What does it smell like?" Well, think of your worst hangover
flesh.
and what you did the next morning in the toilet. That is what it smells like. And we've got this new website, their marketing pitch in the department, and it's saying they're going to have the only 0 fans is pitching it to the electronic music producer community. I think it's a great idea. You should definitely invest all your money in that. Sell the Ferrari, sell the farm, put it all into this. I think it's a great idea. Fantastic. But don't quote me. Next, if you can't record if you can't record a bad song if you've never finished anything. See? And more of these pro tips if you keep watching my show every week. Trust me. You know what's funny? There's this guy, right? He's the meme guy, as you guys know. He's been on hundreds and thousands of memes all over the world. Someone put a billboard up near my house, like for, I don't know, like a truck business. They were selling trucks, and this guy's. I'm like, I wonder what marketing person designed your billboard and charged you thousands of dollars, and they've just grabbed the meme guy. It was an in joke in the family. Anyway, I had to be there. That's it. That cannot be it, surely. Did we have that many? We had 4, didn't we? Durian.
Yeah, I think 4.
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
The meme guy.
Yeah.
VST. Which was your favourite? Let us know.
Yeah, the keyboard for VST users.
Durian's pretty good, yeah.
Durian's pretty good. Wagoo's having trouble with 0 fans. Mate, you know, what can I say? Maybe you're too popular.
That position.
Durian.
0 fans of Durian. Okay. Eddie, you like the black guy?
Oh yeah. It touches home.
It touches home.
It's my life.
Yeah.
Oh
Just
yeah.
don't finish anything. Yep.
Nothing.
Yeah. We should start like the Synth Geekery guru session, you know, where we sit down on cross our legs and meditate, and we come up with little fantastic bits of life advice like that. I don't think it'll last long. Right, let's check out the news. Yay! We have got some cool stuff this week, and I honestly thought, to be honest, we are going to be strapped for showing stuff this week because we had NAMM and it's everything would be out, and what do you do? You know, it's crazy, right? But what I might do is I might actually add some people down the bottom here. Who wants to go down the bottom? Eddie? I'll pick you.
What was it?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to duck out, to be honest.
Yeah, mate.
okay.
You go. You go whenever you're ready.
I will be back. I'll catch you in a bit.
All right, mate.
Cool.
You're welcome to join.
Take care, Jim.
Whenever you want. Take care, mate.
Brilliant.
Beautiful.
See you in a bit. Bye.
See you.
See ya.
See you, James.
Oh, we can put Darren there. Actually, we actually took Darren out. That's sorry, Eddie. I do
That's okay.
apologise. We actually took.
That's okay. Don't matter.
Oh, okay. We'll leave Darren out. Okay, we'll leave Eddie in. Anyway, let's talk about this Teia.
No. Put Darren. He's prettier.
Look, let's leave it, and then I don't have to like muck
I'm
around for another
pixelated.
half now. All right, the SkipLog, guys.
Pixelation. Ooh.
The SkipLog. And it's not that you've missed a toilet break. That's not why this is named this. It's a new module, and what does it do? Well, it's a great question. Why don't we watch this and find out? So what it is, guys, it's a let's go back to this. It's a 3-channel 8 HP, if you're wondering, rhythmic probability processor. And everyone's like, what? Speak English, son. It's about sending out CV signals to different devices, 3 channels, and in kind of like an exploration sort of way. But you can sort of manually control the probability in a way, which is cool. You got a little bit more control over that. You got your 3 probability knobs there. You can manually control the length, and there's different modes, as you saw with the loop, inverting and choking and all that sort of stuff that's in there. So you can mute individual channels. So it's kind of this little performing sort of module for sending out CV and gates, I guess. And it's easily updated with firmware updates. I'm guessing they've got like some sort of we'll probably watch the rest of the video. It's 7 minutes long, but we're not going to do that. It's got some sort of USB connection at the back. So yeah, you're looking at $199 for this. Who's into kind of this probability stuff now, like with their music? Who likes doing that? Don't forget, Darren, you're still around. We know you're here.
Just
I
like
might
some of it.
I'm going to put you in the corner, Darren. There you go. Chris, are you muted? Chris, you're muted.
I like a bit of random. How's that?
Yeah? Is that it?
Yeah, is that it?
You like some randomness, yeah?
I like some randomness. I quite like this. I've had a bit of a look at the video, and as far as I can tell, it's basically a kind of a probability gate. So it's looking at the input and deciding whether to pass that input through to the output, depending upon a probability equation, which is controlled by each knob. And on top of that, they've got a looping recorder, so they can record, from what I can work out, they're recording the decisions, as in the coin tosses that are used, and they're looping those decisions, which is why you still need an input signal in order to generate the looped output, which is a bit of a mind thing. You know, normally you'd think you just hit the loop button and then you can pull the plug out. Well, this doesn't work like that, as I understand it. It's repeating the decisions, the probability, curve.
So
to
it
speak,
still
inside
needs the
module.
signal to keep
I
doing that.
believe so, but as I
Yeah.
said, I think I'd need to read the manual to be absolutely certain that that's how it's implemented. It's
Yeah.
just the impression I got. And what was, I was just trying to work out how it was doing some of the other tricks, because he was using it to do some randomizing of envelope lengths and stuff like that. I think what he was doing was he was just using the gate signals in a creative way by reducing them in amplitude and then adding it to another signal to control the CV of another instrument, which you can do pretty much with any module that outputs gates. But that's, I would put that in my video absolutely if it was me, because you can do it. It's creative. So I quite like this, and I think the price is pretty reasonable. To be honest, I wish I could do it to build that for that price. It's a bit harder to do for smaller runs, but I think it's pretty reasonable. I think for what that is. So yeah, I thought it's quite good.
Yeah, it's a nice, neat looking module in terms of.
And
its
the other
layout.
thing, yes, the other thing I was going to mention is that I think it's very well resolved in terms of what they're trying to present, the features and capabilities. I've actually got, so there's some elements of the GP82 in there, such as the Bernoulli gate mode. That's the random probability of whether a step plays or doesn't. Plus there's my other desktop module, the Rhythmo, which does the random step sequence generation, coin toss, or toss coin at the beginning of the sequence, the end of the sequence, change the length of the sequence, all that kind of stuff. I quite like the way this one's been combined those elements into a module, and it seems to be very easy to understand. I like the way that you have the different modes indicated by LEDs. What we don't have here, and what you could have, of course, is a screen showing all this. And that would be the hundreds of developers would have. Well, and also hundreds of developers would have done it that way, just because it was intuitive to them in the development process. Because some people are coming from that sort of world. What I like here is that they've taken a step back and actually said, no, we need to simplify things, and if that means we have to put more LEDs and space, and it's more difficult to space things out, so it's just right. So fair bit of respect for them for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of think what you're trying to say in a simple way for us to understand is that it's more musical that way, right? Because otherwise it becomes too mathematical, and there's that big divide with music, because music is mathematical, but when you can actually do things like algorithms and probability and stuff in maths and actually make it musical, but not have that complexity for us to go, what?
Well, yeah, approachability. Basically, people who can grasp a concept fairly quickly without having to understand the underlying mathematics, I think is always a admirable thing to do in modular.
Make something sophisticated but dumb it down is actually quite a tricky technique.
It's very difficult to design interfaces, simple interfaces to complex modules.
Yeah.
And they could have kept on adding.
Is that what you're saying, basically? Yeah.
And they could have kept on. Yeah, they could have kept on adding features that would have made the panel harder to use and the user interface harder to use, but they obviously decided, nope, stop, which is the other thing that's really important in designing modules, I think, personally, is when to stop designing.
Yeah.
So that's my piece. Hello? Was that you, Darren?
No, yeah, I was just saying, can someone
I can hear it
tune
too.
the background very, very low?
I can hear it too.
Yeah. It's a drum bit, yeah.
Is it gone
Yeah.
now?
Let me check.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't think
Chris.
it's me.
It was Chris.
Oh, right.
Sorry.
Okay.
A preview of what's to come later on in the show. I'm terribly sorry.
It's all right. I thought my Bluetooth headphones
be.
were picking up something else.
No.
Good ears, Darren. Good ears. Right, next. Now this one, okay. I kind of want to. I want to show you this, right? But I kind of want to do. I want to kind of do a little sort of cross camera thing going on here. So it's going to be a little tricky for me to produce. But what we'll do is we'll go across. We'll talk about this first. This is Behringer's new Spring Reverb module. which is called the Spring Reverberation 636. Now, just so if anyone's kind of not interested in reverb modules and that, and you're wondering where the hell did they come up with this name, it is actually kind of an old 1960s reverb tank thing that they've based this thing on. It is the Grampium Reverberation Unit type 636 is what, if you want to get technical. And what it is, it's built with a reverb tank inside, and you've got your dual mechanical springs, and there's an overload circuit in there for analog overdrive. It has a small decay time, which is about 2 seconds. Now for a spring reverb, 2 seconds is quite long, so that's, some people will kind of like that. I mean, generally speaking, the longer decay time for your spring reverb means you're going to have longer springs, generally speaking. Not always, but generally speaking. There are some other tricks mechanically, electronically, that you can do to make them, and when we're talking analog units. Now, just from my point of view, this thing, if you're wondering how much it is, I think it's going to be around a couple of $100 to buy, and it's pretty cheap, but it's massive, right? This thing's about the same size as a Model D, and they've got the same eurorack / desktop modular chassis for it. It's cheap, yes. It's gonna sound good, yes, but I don't know how many of us will want this thing taking up a lot of real estate on our already crammed desktops, if that makes sense. Or if we're going to put it into our eurorack, are we going to take up all of that eurorack HP? Because look at it, it's just basically just a panel with 3 knobs on it and a couple of LEDs and a switch. Okay, so what I want to do is I just want to take you guys across to, I'm going to turn Darren off in the corner here because I don't want him to get stuck. I'm going to take you across to a module that I own, which is a module made by Dopefer, and it's called the 199, the A199. So if you look at this,
cryptic names,
typical Dopefer, right? But if you look at this, this is a tiny little HP, doesn't take up a lot of space. By the way, that's a different module to the right, so it finishes literally there. It's almost like a plate. Where my finger is, that's where the module finishes. But with this, you get a little bit of modulation control on this. With the Behringer, you don't, and also you've got 4 knobs. You got a little bit more control basically on this. But I also want to show you what I think is kind of genius about and Dopefer have been making this thing for ages, right? And if you ever want to buy one of these, they're dirt cheap as well. That's the reverb tank. I've pulled it out. Normally I have this sitting behind, but I've literally pulled it out for you guys today so you can have a look at it. So you could, you can mount these things, with the screw holes. You can see the screw holes here. And it's literally just connected up by these 2 RCA cables. And if you want, you could have it sort of hanging out like this, and you can fondle the springs if you want to, if that's what you're interested in. Or you could screw it to the side of your eurorack case, which is kind of what a lot of people do, and you can tap it like that, and you get that real sort of springy sort of sound. And when you think about this thing's tiny, but if I was to put that into a chassis and take up HP, I'm kind of thinking to myself, guys, it's kind of similar maybe. I don't know. I don't really know the details of how big the springs are in this thing, but call me a Dopefer fanboy, but hey, the price is not much difference between the two. I would definitely be getting the Dopefer. You get a little bit more bang for your buck, and you get some flexibility. And I love the sound. I mean, I can plumb it in if you guys want to hear what it sounds like. I love the sound of the Dopefer. It sounds awesome. Who wants to hear it? This is not the Behringer. Well, okay, why don't we hear the Behringer first via their video, because I don't have one here. And then we can adjudicate, I guess, how it sounds through YouTube compression and stuff.
3-6.
right, you guys get the idea. Okay. So thoughts, comments, and while you guys are talking about thoughts and comments, I'll plumb up the reverb tank for you. Who wants to talk first? Darren? I know you don't have a reverb tank, Darren. Come on.
I don't have a reverb. Well, this room's a reverb tank, if you ask me.
You're a reverb tank.
I don't know. Like you say, it's
Tank full of reverbs.
it's like you say, it's a bit big for me. I'd like to say, I mean, where the heck would you put it? Because it's just taking up room for a reverb. But I mean, I suppose some people want it, especially if you've got. I like the look of it, and it's something. If I had a bigger studio, I might have sitting around, you know, like you have, like I do like my foot pedals. So, but it's just like I say, it's just a bit big. I mean, it's not convenient to space wise. It's not park bench compatible. Let's put it that way. So I mean, I don't have a yay or a nay for it really. If it's something that people might like, but I just like say it's just a bit big really for just a spring reverb. It's not like it's a small synth, is it? And you're getting. But if you're into spring reverbs and you love these things and you've got a place to put it, why not? It's something. I must admit, it's slightly something different than another synth.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm neither up nor down about it. It's okay. I don't know how it'll sell.
Darren, do you reckon with that space they've got? Let me bring you into the conversation. See that little space they've got there under the Behringer logo to the right between the switch and the knobs. There's a bit of an infinite space there, right? Do you reckon they could have opened up the panel so that you could get your fingers in there and, you know, play with the springs? Fondle your springs.
Why not? Well, you'd have to open up to see where they put the spring and how it is inside. But yeah, I can't see why they wouldn't have not done that. I mean, for all I know, it might be a little spring about that big.
Yeah,
they've just wasted a lot of space.
Do you know if it can be rack mounted? And I've got going somewhere with this.
Wugu was kind of talking about it.
I mean,
because with the Model D, you can get the rack ears for the Model D, and I think it's the same size. So the answer is yes.
But you can't Euro rack. It's not Euro rack.
Yes, it's Euro rackable.
So that would make me think that the spring tank is probably attached to the front panel.
Yeah, it's literally all together. Yep.
Which means it would be quite difficult, wouldn't it, to get your finger past the fixing
the circuit's
points?
probably behind, right? It's probably facing the other way.
Yeah, that's sort of what I mean. So even if they did want to open it up, you'd have to.
They'd have to redesign
construct it different. Yeah. That's just a thought.
Let's have a listen to. Here you go, Darren. You can watch it for us. That's just the reverb tank now. They definitely have a character about them, don't they? They have a character about them, and I don't know. Like
I have the Coma Field Kit. It has a totally different sound than that, but it's a similar type of external spring reverb.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted to say. I've heard your spring tank, and I've heard a few different spring tanks rants, and when I listened to this one, I went, "Oh, it sounds completely different. That must be why it's desirable." I hate that sound. So there is a, you know, you either love it or you hate different flavors of spring reverb. I found out because this really was one of those ones where I'm just going, ugh, and that's where everyone goes, "Oh yeah, that's the sound we want." I went, okay, I'm not into reggae. I'm not into dub.
Yeah.
Obviously, maybe
You're not into spring
that's
reverbs,
why.
I think it's where like
Yeah, well, maybe,
How about-
but that's the
how
thing.
about
But I love,
you'll either love
but
it or
that's-
hate it.
but I love the sound of a spring reverb on like early 70s, 2600s, and
So
EMS
you got to
synthesizers
tame
and
it. I mean,
Yeah.
Put it this way, I was like making this thing right up in your face.
Oh yeah.
You can tame this right back, and that's what you need to do. Like spring reverb is kind of like it's one of those sort of wild beasts that if you want, you can have it really ambient and you can tame it and it sounds beautiful. Or if you want, you can have it real metallic and industrial, like what I was just doing just then, which a lot of people in modern music like, because it really does have that twang about it. So there's kind of, there's a bit of an art, spring reverb, because it's a mechanical electronic device, and it does have it's a bit chaotic, if that makes sense.
Have one.
They even make cool toys. Like one's called a Thunder Tube. It's like Dixie cups in a tube with a spring in there. You could yell into the tube, and it's a spring reverb in a tube. It's a toy.
What sounds interesting through spring reverb is actually vocals. And one of the cool things about Eurorack is if you've got one of those samplers like the bit boxes or the the 1010 music type samplers in your modular, you put it through you put some of those samples through spring reverb. It's kind of cool. So this particular setup that I've got here, I've got a VCA matrix, so I can pipe anything that's in that matrix through spring reverb and blend it with other effects at the same time. So if I want, I could actually have something with an already effect, like a flanger or something like that, going through the spring reverb first. So you can do it as an insert, or you can do it as a mix, or you can do it as an individual thing. So yeah, and like toning it right down is probably where you're probably going to like it, Chris. I feel like more of an ambient sort of thing, and they do
subtle,
sound beautiful. Yeah, like less is more type thing.
Whereas I think this one doesn't really go there. I think it doesn't work when you use it subtly. I think it's kind of designed to be a bit hammered.
The Dopefer or the Behringer?
The Behringer one.
Right.
Behringer.
Okay.
Did you see the one I shot at the Buchla event? It was $3,500. It's a tower, and it had these big fat springs.
See, I like that,
They're
Andy.
very wobbly springs.
I like that
Yeah.
because that's real.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Industrial.
Do you remember those old plate reverbs that they used to have as well?
The ones you have on the basement. You
Yeah.
actually have to keep them in the basement. They're so big.
Literally massive
those,
plates. Yeah. Yeah.
They're great. Yeah.
And
The ultimate industrial music.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about this product that Behringer have brought out, there's going to be people that will actually like this because I think you'd have to kind of remember who was using those 636s in the day, and it was there wouldn't be the fact that they're remaking it is kind of cool, because there'll be a lot of people that will be actually that's really cool, because the company wouldn't be around anymore, and it's cool. But I guess like you said, Chris, you're going to be sort of like, how do I tame this beast? Because mixing engineers would have learnt probably the long-winded hard way in the day of how to tame a spring reverb and have it sound amazing. You know what I find interesting? It's kind of a really interesting segue, and this, Darren, this is for you actually. During the week, I watched a video about Prince and how his workflow worked, and you guys have heard the story, right? This is not a new story, but Prince basically made multiple tracks day after day after day after day. Like, he has probably got 2,000 tracks sitting in his vault that have never been released. He was a prolific writer, and whether they're good, whether that's someone else's opinion, but one of the things that I found really interesting about this video that I watched, they talked about the effects pedals and things that he used. And Darren, wake Dave up, because his favourite pedal was the purple flanger from Boss. Now, if you guys remember, probably Prince's massive hit, which was When Doves Cry. He used this flanger pedal on the Lindrum. You go back and listen to that Lindrum start of that song. All of you guys now are going to go to Spotify and go and listen to it now. It literally it sounds beautiful. They've got this little sort of tom sound that's kind of just, you know, waving away with the flanger effect in the background. I'm just going to get rid of you, Darren. Sorry, I got to keep Darren. You keep mucking on me. Yeah. So
Hiding back there.
speaking of purple things, you know, and effects. The reason why that's related to what Chris was talking about is because the way that he's treated, because I've got this pedal, the exact same pedal, and this is an analog flanger this is like a 1980s version. You can tell because of the back. If anyone does any research on Boss stuff, you'll know that these are the original, not the digital ones, right? When you are really good at mixing and using effects properly, you've tamed the effect to the point where it's just delicious to listen to. Like your ears are just like it's less is more again. Same thing as the spring reverb that we were talking before. So
Yeah, you have to be able to listen to it all day, don't you?
yeah.
That's right.
So I mean, you know, some people hate Prince, but go listen to that little Lindrum intro of When Doves Cry. If you've got Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, you'll be able to listen to it for free. And you'll just hear that little sort of flanger effect sort of popping around every time that little tom hits.
It's ingrained in my mind. The opening of When Doves
Don't listen
Cry,
to
but
Rave
I didn't
Dave's
know.
album then.
I failed. I did not know it was that particular flanger. That's a tidbit. Very nice.
While we've got
Purple Rave
these,
could be a bit naughty.
while we've got this set up, I'm going to put which one was Jim? Is that Jim? Yeah, we'll put the chatties back there.
Yeah, Jim looks decidedly disinterested in the flanger.
Sorry, Jim.
Oh dear.
Oh, covering me up.
Yeah.
Now.
Ooh. There you go.
Why is that being weird like that? Anyway, that'll do. Okay, fixed. Right. Okay, so, you know, who's going to buy this thing from Behringer? Anyone?
Unfortunately not.
No. Eddie is. Eddie likes the spring tank. Yeah. You can bash the side of it and the top of it, and it will make the springs wobble. So I think there was a little part in the video where they did too, if I remember rightly. Wagoo saying he'll buy one at some point, I'm sure. I don't know where you're fitting all this stuff, Wagoo. Seriously, mate. What else we got next? Okay, yeah, more Behringer stuff. There's a little bit of Behringer stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. So they announced this on Facebook during the week that they are going to be doing a mini version of the UBXA. So I'm guessing this would be one voice, like a mono synth. I'm guessing it doesn't actually say.
They said 3 on ProSynth Network.
I think it has 3. It's paraphonic. It has 3 with 1 filter.
Okay, so it's
3
like the
mono
Volca
keys.
Volca keys.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
We don't know, but that's the current guess.
Well, the thing is, how do they know it's 3? I don't know. Maybe it's based on the previous other ones that were out, I guess. But yeah, because Behringer didn't actually say how many voices. They just said voicing. They just said UBXA voicing. Anyway, that's that one. And I'm guessing that will be kind of a similar price to the other minis that they've already released. It's not that many though. Oh, by the way, if anyone is interested in keeping track of all this stuff, have I got a little present for you? Head on over to my website, ranzee.com, if you're wondering, and scroll down a little bit. It might even have to be further down than there. It is there. There's an article that I did in the middle of January called Behringer's Mini / Micro Synths, and these are, if you click on it, these are all the ones that they've said that they're promising that they're going to bring out over the years, and I've collated this into a nice little blog article, so you can actually even find the original Facebook post by clicking on it and the date that they announced it. And so some of these they haven't finished yet. Do you remember this thing, the BX700 and the CS
there
Mini?
Were a lot. There
All
are
right.
a lot that I didn't remember when I looked at that article.
Yeah.
I was quite impressed. Yeah.
I want you
They
guys
have
to
really
remember
got
that one
bots.
because we'll be having a look at that in a second.
Mhm.
The Hero Tribe that they actually teamed up with the MS-20 guy, Hiroyaki
one of the-
Nashijima.
One of the more stranger emissions.
Yeah, haven't seen that one. Don't know what's going on with that. Korg maybe sued them. Who knows? The JT4000 we know that actually made it, so that one's out. The Model D Soul we haven't seen yet. The Pro VS Mini we know that one's made it. The Saturn Soul, which is the Jupiter voice, I guess that will come soon because they're doing that JT16 now. The UB1 Micro. Now I got a feeling the UB1 Micro is basically what we just saw. I don't think. I think they're going to scrap this, and I think they're going to go with the one we just saw. So, anyway, there's that, and that's where I kind of wondered where it was getting its voices from because this says it was mono. Anyway,
Yeah.
UB1 Spirit was another one. The UBXA Mini, which I've just talked about, and that's it. So that's a great little article if you guys want to, keep track of whether they're actually staying true to their word, because I kind of feel at times, do you guys feel like that, where they keep showing little teasers of products and it's almost on a daily basis, it's definitely multiple per week, and we need someone to keep an eye on them. And it takes a bit of work to do this, but I do want to do the bigger stuff, like it's going to take a while to do that. Like they're still promising the CS80, they're promising the VCS3, they're promising quite a lot of stuff. They have been delivering, so I'm not definitely not throwing them under the bus, but be nice to see. Anyway, okay, next one. I said reminder. This one is now coming to fruition. This one is actually at the stage where they've sent it out to get beta tested by people. So if you guys remember that blog article which I just showed before, there was actually like a what do you call it? A render. So that's what they announced that back in 2023. The render was what they showed this thing here, and this is now the real thing. This is actually a real in existence thing that's been tooled up. They're testing it. Beta testers have got hold of it. So this is based on the Casio CZ1 or CZ1 for you there, Andy. See, we're multilingual here, mate. $99 is what they're claiming will be the RRP, which means it'll probably be $89 at Perfect Circuit, for example, if they decide to stock it in Behringer gear. So that one this is the additive one, isn't it, Andy? If I remember rightly, the CZ.
It's
Phase distortion. That's it. Phase distortion.
It's phase distortion, and later on they had the V series, the VZ, which is they call it interactive phase distortion.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, some people loved that Casio when it first came out. So
they're great. I have the whole set. I mean, I have all the CZs. So,
and to be fair, Casio is still around. They still use that technology up until quite recent. I remember some product came out and it had some sort of rendition of phase distortion in it. I forget now what it was. Someone will remind me in the chat. It was only like before COVID. They had a product that they
I even have the Telharmonic module from Make Noise, which has a CZ voice in it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that one's really close to. I would say you're probably going to get that this year. That would be a good guess from me, anyway. So there's that one. Next is the last of the Behringer. So now this is also tooled up and in the hands of beta testers. They're still umming and ahhing about the color of the buttons, which I kind of agree with. I'm not a fan of the green, the white. I think that it's kind of quite saturated, the choice of colors that they've got there. So maybe have a rethink about the actual choice of colors you've got. But if you're wondering what an RD-78 is a clone of, it's the CR-78 from Roland. The CR-78, if you guys remember, Blondie used it in Heart of Glass and all those famous Who else used the CR78?
Their choice
Heaps
of
people.
colors look like bad 3D prints, like the spool.
Yeah.
The plastics and 3D printing looks like that color. It's
Yeah.
not. Doesn't
Like
look
a real,
quality. Yeah.
like a real web safe color. Do you remember web safe colors? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's not a nice color. Probably, maybe they used an iPhone to take the photo. Probably didn't do it justice either. But yeah, I kind of feel like, yeah,
the colors to me look like what you'd buy at your local electronics store when you're making your own DIY products, like I do.
What? Okay, so
yeah,
what I can tell you about this,
generic.
if you don't know already, it is going to be in the same format as the RD-08 and the RD-09 chassis. So this, if you're thinking how big is this thing, it's exactly the same size as those products that they've already got out there on the market. So quite a big desktop unit.
Yeah.
You can just see from here that they're using the same sort of kind of tricks that they've got. You know, the sequencer would be similar. In a way, this kind of almost looks like a similar sequencer to the what do you call it? Is it the
303?
It looks like a 303, but the drum machine
606.
around 606, I think it was, around at the same time. It looks kind of similar to that. But they're supposed to. It's supposed to be similar to the
Silver.
the
silver
CR78.
one.
I agree
the
with
silver one.
Wagyu that the jack size and the knob size don't make it look like the RD-08. If you scale that up, it looks pretty.
That's what I wondered.
Those are mini
You
jacks.
look at the size. Look at the jacks on top.
I think it's the same size as the 303
TB3.
Oh.
TD3.
That's probably a good point. It could be. There you go.
Yeah, because
Like
the
that
jacks
size.
are really. Yeah.
You guys might be on the money there.
That looks
There you
more
go.
like it.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay.
thought it was when I first saw it. So yeah.
Counting that this is the latest and the final size of it.
Well, why don't they make it silver?
Yeah.
Just make it silver. It would be so cool.
Do you think maybe? Well, the original CR78 was wood. Yeah, with the wood.
Was
paneling.
wood, yeah,
It was a
and but
square
it's-
box, but it had a black fascia.
But it had a
so-
black facial, yeah.
So maybe
but
that's
I reckon
why
this
they've
would
gone
look
this
so cool silver. Because, I mean, you know, I don't know, just me.
I mean, they're not really
But
known
wouldn't
for
it be
their visual
confusing?
choices. A lot of their visual stuff is You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if they made it silver, would it be confusing with the TD3, the Reverberation?
Have they done a 606 clone yet?
Have they done an RD6? I think they have, haven't they?
I think
If
what
that's
colour is that
already
one?
the colour, they'd have to differentiate it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
Roland didn't have
remember,
that problem.
remember that Behringer?
They just
Remember
spelled out
Behringer's all
everything in
about the
silver for
looks. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, you can get
it
the
has
RD6.
to look right.
Forgot about the RD6, and they do have a silver one. There you go.
hmm
Okay, maybe this,
This one needs to be
grey.
different.
I'm not sure, but what worries me about some of these things, like, do you remember when Behringer brought out the RD8, the 808 one? They've actually made two hardware versions of it now. They've got a Mark 1 and a Mark 2, and I own the Mark 1, and I kind of feel a bit pissed off because they actually improved the I don't want to get into the engineering technicalities of it, but they improved the kick drum.
Yeah.
And it's now the Mark II is now more accurate. And one of the things I hate about the RD-08 is the kick drum on the one I've got.
I can see that'd be a problem.
I actually have a TR8, which is a digital one, sitting here, and the kick drum sounds beautiful on it. So I actually don't use it very much. I'm probably thinking about selling it, to be fair. But I just hope that they get the right circuit sounds out of this. If it's truly analog, it's truly a CR78 clone, are they getting the right circuits? Are they putting the right componentry in it? That's kind of my worry. What tricks are they trying to, hide under here? Because I don't trust them because of the RD-08. Is what I'm saying.
It's a fair concern, but perhaps they've learnt their lesson.
Well, to
from
be
them.
fair, Arturia, the first drum brute, had an anemic kick drum, and then the Impact improved that. They took features away, scaled it down, but they improved the kick drum at least.
Yeah. Now the price, which they didn't give us. Do we have a price of the RD6? I do have a price of the RD6, but it's in Australian dollars, and I don't want to do that. I want to do it in US dollars if I can. Let's see if I can get a price from Sweetwater. Here we go. So if 139 is what they're currently selling the RD6 at Sweetwater, I would say it's going to be more than that, because I kind of feel like that's Sweetwater have pulled that price down from when they originally launched it. I'm pretty sure it was like 189 US or something like that. So that could be a good idea. Like 189 might be what they first launch it at, and then maybe later and it gets reduced. I'm not sure, but it's still pretty inexpensive when you think about it. If you can buy an RD6, which is a 606 clone, for $139, that's insane. That's really cheap. But yeah, like Bert said in chat, I just use the samples. Yeah.
Do you know what's the IO in this unit? Because I can only see audio out.
Yeah, I can't tell you that, mate. Only from what we can see on this photo. There was no rear. There was no rear photo that I knew of anyway. I can click on the Facebook link again, I guess. See if there was any other photos. Where are we?
I mean, it's just to try to make an opinion about how desirable it would be, because it's already good that it does the drum machine job, but it could also
there is a photo.
Or
Here we
triggers
go.
External stuff.
Here we go. You're in luck. There is another photo. Yeah, there is another photo.
Panel. Yeah, I was going to mention that. I got distracted.
And it's on its way. Do not worry. Hold your breath. Don't go purple like Dave does. He's going purple already.
Individual outs.
There you go.
That's
Oh,
what we
fuck.
like.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Well, there you can see the size of it. Yeah, it's going to be more.
Yeah, it's an
the-
RD6 size. Yeah, Wagoo's on the money there. Yeah, well done. Good pickup, boys.
Okay,
Can
that's
I
very interesting.
zoom in on that? Can I zoom? I can zoom, can I? Does this let me zoom? Hang on. Ooh, wrong way. Wrong way.
Wrong way.
There we go. This is what we want to
crap.
do. So
Ooh.
we got G, TB, LC, like all of those things, right? Bass drum, snare drum, clap or rim shot,
Rim shot, yeah.
cymbal or
Cymbal,
hi-hat,
Mid,
bongo or toms maybe? I'm not sure.
maybe.
MB,
Mid-bongo.
CB, LHB. Someone will be able to tell us what they are. And then you got your mix out.
High.
What is VAR?
Ooh.
Is that like a?
Variation?
Is that like a? Yeah, maybe.
Ooh. Could be very
Sync. Clock sync. That's cool.
There you go.
It is very interesting. Into 100 quid-ish.
There you go. Right. What else we got? No video, by the way, because that was just a Facebook post. We do have a video on this. Now, this is not a new product. I just thought, I don't think we ever showed it on the show. If you guys are wondering what it is, it's by Analog Solutions, and it's the Maximus. And it is a massive synthesizer that you would just like stare at for half an hour before you even had the guts to even touch it. You'd probably change your pants a few times. But I just think this is something that we didn't really show on the show before, and I looked at it the other day and I thought to myself, oh, this is beautiful, this thing. Now, the reason why I thought I'll share it with you guys is because I just like this little claim that Analog Solutions said. They're labeling this a true polyphonic analog synthesizer.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that.
And I know this is going to get people talking about what does that actually mean. Do we need to ring Mark Doty and get him on the show? Probably. But before I show the video, I want you to have a think about that, and also want you to let the price of £22,500 sink in when you're looking at this and salivating about how awesome this thing is. I love Analog Solutions, by the way. They're one of my favorite synthesizer companies. So yeah, let's check this out. This is going to be cool. We're not going to watch 12 minutes of it, but yeah. Nah, ads.
Yes.
Go away.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
Gotcha.
All right. I am not paying for a YouTube subscription. Sorry, guys. Not going to happen. Anyway, 8 voices, 16 VCOs. It's got 3 12 dB filters, a low pass, band pass, high pass, 2 ADSR envelopes, 1 16-step sequencer or modulation loop, if you want to call it. It's got a bucket brigade delay style echo, which of course I like, as you guys know. White noise, sub oscillator, portamento glide. It's got a tuning vernier type system, which I like as well. Quite a lot of cross modulation, of course, because it's CV patchable. And in the master section, you've got things like voltage controlled LFO, another one with a delay. You've got an 8-channel stereo mixer, 2 spring reverbs. Hello. They're everywhere today, spring reverbs. And there's MIDI to CV converter, which is polyphonic. And that keyboard, which you saw with the strip control, which can be layered or split. Yeah, all that sort of stuff. Metal cabinet. Birch plywood on the side if you want. And a healthy set of jacks, I meant to say, sorry. They actually literally give you... they give you a green jacket to wear. No, a healthy set of jacks to go with it to patch. Well. Yeah. Anyway, £22,500. Who's buying one? Darren?
Oh, dear. Who thinks
how long has this been around for? It's been around for about a year or two, right?
Just got nowhere to put it. That was the only reason.
Yeah.
Mate, you just move everything else out and just put that in, because it would literally... You have to sell everything in there.
I was going to say, if you don't need a house, or if you don't need a house or a business, or your life, then you could probably afford it. Yeah. You probably need.
I'm not totally sure, but I think Maximus is not even a year out, because I remember last summer is when I bought my JB from Tom, and he had the pieces to put them together, which I saw on piles, and he hadn't released them yet. So I think it was released late summer of 23.
I remember it being at one of those synthy shows. But which one was it?
Was it Super Boost?
Which is the one in September.
Yeah, but which one was
No,
that?
he didn't do it. So, the one in Norwich.
Was it Synthfest? I'm trying to
I think
remember
so.
which one's which.
I think
I
so.
can't remember what they're called. Which one's Synthfest? Is that the Sheffield one? No.
Yeah, exactly. Sheffield.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
The one in the Octagon.
Oh yeah. Legacy Hand in chat has said the same thing. Yep. Well done, Legacy. Good work. Show us your hand. Yes.
Purple hand, the purple hand.
So
Oh,
let's
Brooksy's
state
there.
a fact.
Hey, Brooksy.
Cool.
Hey, mate.
Hey, Brooksy.
Hey, mate.
Brooksy, jump on to Zoom, buddy. Links pinned if you want to join in.
So, guys,
If you can.
are we all aware that this is a modern classic already off the cuff?
Probably. You're
Well,
probably right.
Because in my point of view, my very limited and ignorant point of view, this is inherited all the good stuff from all the classics before it and added things that they couldn't at the time, and it's built to last. And Jesus Christ, it's gorgeous. I'm speechless.
Oh, I mean, that I'm with you there, but I'm just trying to think what its identity is, and what we tend to do is we tend to go, okay, what is this like? What's this the closest like?
We think
And
of
the
those.
one that I'm kind of, I don't know why, but for me, my brain keeps going Oberheim SEM.
Because of the
Yeah.
voice. Yeah.
That's where I'm
It's
going with it
because
every time.
But it's also the
But-
kind of slightly aggressive sound.
Yeah.
That Analog
Exactly.
Solutions sound is just
I
slightly
think
ballsy.
for what you just play, I think it sounds like a Maximus, which is to me what makes it a classic right away. Because it drinks from Oberheim. Yes, it drinks a little bit from, for what I'm here on my headphones. So excuse me if I'm talking shit. It drinks a little bit from Korg MS. It drinks slightly from ARP, but not too much. I think it's Maximus. It sounds like itself, which is bravo. That's the goal you want.
Yeah. Unique. It can sound
Obviously
like much like any powerful synth though. It can sound like a lot of
Exactly.
other synths. I mean, that's kind of like the price of entry on anything over that sort of price. But yeah,
Obviously,
it's-
the strip screams CS80, but it's not CS80 sound.
it doesn't do everything.
No,
I've listened to the whole thing, and there's some stuff I really like that it does really well. Mainly I think more ironically, Rants, it's more the monophonic or multi-part stuff that I reckon it excels at. The actual polyphonic patches left me a bit cold.
that's the
It
problem.
seemed a bit too
That's the
aggressive
problem
a
I had
voicing system.
when I made my polyphonic synth from the the nifty keys, and I got the Behringer Roland 110 modules because they're all synth voices, right? That was the problem I had, because and it's the problem people have with the Moog 1, and it's the problem people have with a lot of these really big polyphonic analog synths. And it's why Behringer brought out the DeepMind 12, and they absolutely jam-packed it full of digital effects, because really that's what a lot of people are going to do to these things. But I kind of feel like if you were to give this to someone like Mark Doty, who really knows how to get a good sound out of a polyphonic analog synth, it wouldn't sound like arse. It would sound amazing.
No, I think you're right. It needs it takes a special kind of talent, I think, to extract the maximum out of some architectures. I think this is one of those architectures where it's very easy to go a little bit too far one way, and then it sounds a bit bleh.
Yeah. Do
So I
you
think
think maybe the
extract
filters?
maximum out of the Maximus.
Do you think the filters are to blame?
I think possibly the whole gain stage has to be tweaked. I mean, you can tweak it. That's my point. It's how much you feed
here's the
in.
thing, right? When you
You
guys
need to
play
pull it all
with
back, I think.
when you guys play with 24 dB filters and you play with 12 dB filters, what do you usually gravitate? Like, if there was a fight in a boxing ring, which one would you be on side of? 12 dB or a 24 dB
Depends
low
on
pass
the sound.
filter. Which one sounds more resonant usually? The 12, right?
24.
Well, the 24 will probably have more range in its harmonics, right? Because of the nature of it. But which one would probably sound more harsh, resonant, would probably be the 12, depending on how you implement your resonance. That's the way that's the way I see things.
Because it's
I thought
more
it was the other
broad,
way
which
around.
takes up more space because it's a slower curve. 12
Yeah.
slower than 12, 24.
Yeah.
So it uses up more headroom in the gain stage that I'm talking about, which is therefore it leads to more harmonic distortion.
Yeah,
Potential.
and
Well,
a lot
okay.
of
Sounds
people would
more
say
impressive.
24.
Yeah,
Would you
that's
agree?
why
A
the
lot of
12
people would
sounds-
go 24. Like, look at the chat now. Everyone's saying 24, 24, 24. This thing has got 12 dB filters in it. Why is that?
Like Oberheim.
Yeah, like
to give
Oberheim.
to give it that aggression.
And CS80.
See, one of the things that I've always wondered what sounds like if Moog built like a Moog 1 has got the different types of filters in it, you know, that was one of the cool things about it. But like in the early days, I wanted to know what the older Moog polyphonic synth sounded like with a different filter, not the dead ladder filter in it. Different filter, give it a different character, because it's a different way that you're EQing that sound, right? You're subtracting frequencies out. And polyphonic, you know, because what you're saying, Chris, is like when you're introducing all these voices, 8 voices, right? You're going to have these innuendo, subtle differences between each of these oscillators beating against each other, creating these subtle harmonic distortions, right? As soon as you start adding a filter to it, that's where things can go bad, depending on what filter choice you've got. So maybe it's that. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah,
A
but
multi-mode would be, you know, like a multi
Yeah, multi-mode would be great.
with a notch and a, you know, different sort of features.
isn't that exactly what we're looking at? I thought Maximus has some multi-mode filters.
It is multi-mode, but it's just 12 dB and it's only, you know, low pass, band pass, and high pass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No new. Okay.
Well,
interesting.
What we're doing is we're just chewing the breeze here. We're trying to work out, okay, what is it about this thing that makes it kind of sit in its own space? And it's probably partially to do with the choice of the filter. Definitely.
Yeah, sure. Obviously, that helps to the identity of every synthesizer.
Variable
it's all about.
slop. Argument wants variable slop.
Oh, if only electronics was accommodating. You could probably
Mate,
get
I've
that.
got-
I don't think you could do that.
I've got
in
3
digital.
kids, and there's definitely variable slop after they've finished eating a dinner at the table. Yes. Anyway, so a love affair of mine with the Maximus. If anyone wants to send me a free one, I promise I'll be your best friend for a day at least.
And then you'll run away with it. Yeah.
I'm grateful.
Where'd Reds go? Where's my Maximus?
Okay.
Wagoo, stay away
We
from your
can
credit
agree.
card, mate. Stay away from your credit card. I know what you're like, buddy.
Oh, dear.
These things are divorce material. Let me tell you. Right, next is Particles. I'm really interested in this thing, Particles, by IOLabs, and I do have a video lined up for us. Hopefully there's no ads this time. Sorry, guys. But I'm not paying YouTube any, you know, they don't pay me enough, so stuff them. Let's do the video and then we'll come back to it, because it's only 4 minutes. We're not going to watch all 4. Darren, get away from your credit card.
Oh yes, look at those.
All right, so I kind of feel like this is like a game that you just chuck into your rack if you're bored. It's a bit more than that, but there's been a few comments in chat already. I don't know.
It gets less drummy as it goes along.
Technomatic, I don't know what the problem is, mate. We can come back and revisit your questions in a sec. Right, Particles is an animated, CV controlled, XY positional thing with gravity algorithms and all sorts of collisions and things like that in there. So I kind of feel like, if we go back to this, we can see that it's basically one of those kind of CV, it's a physics simulator. It's got a touch screen, so you can actually play it, you can manipulate it, you can create chaos with it.
Pen.
Yeah. So there's quantizing zones, and there's ways to create chords, and you can
melody in it.
Do transpositions with it. It's probably, how we talked about it there's a module we looked at last week or the week before where I said sometimes these modules are going to be these things that people see you use at one of those EMOMs or wherever you've performed and think, where the hell did you get, what is that? And
wow.
It's probably one of these. It is kind of interesting UI. It's £419. It's on Kickstarter at the moment. I think they've already achieved their Kickstarter goal, by the way, these guys. I do believe we might have actually shown a sneak of this a while ago. So this might be the second suck at the sav. Or these guys, IOLabs, have done something similar before, maybe. Or maybe someone else has done it. I don't know. It just kind of has that.
There was the orbiting one, but that was a different project.
Yeah, that was a different thing. Yeah. So let me read this. Particles is the possibility to create music using your own creative physics engine and add particles, animated surfaces, portals, black holes, and generate gates on collisions, the CV output voltages, and quantized melodies with it as well. Each particle can have entirely unique physics parameters, including acceleration, velocity, mass, and gravity. So think Star Trek, maybe? I don't know. All interact in your simulation to create collisions and XY positional data that can be mapped to generate music with useful gates, voltages, and notes. So it's like a sequencer in a way. Collisions for some particles may even be switched off or on as they move freely around the screen without colliding with other simulation elements. So you've got these colliding things as well. Where I was at, multiple quantized zone maps can be used simultaneously to create chords, and multiple particles can be mapped to the same output to allow transposition of melodies. CV outputs can be set to send transposed voltages from another output for easy chord generation. So one particle can control all outputs for all particles. Up to 50 particles can control one output, and anything in between. These guys, IOLabs, did that module called Flux, which Darren, I remember you liked from a while back. They have used, I don't know, some sort of development with Flux. They've used that to keep the module as flexible as possible. All simulations can be drawn from scratch using the touchscreen, or simulations can also be crafted in fine detail using exact values using the input UI. So you can program this.
So some of those screens, they're bonkers.
Yeah.
The amount of detail on them.
I don't know what in the video. There's other.
It's like a fancy custom version of Tombola on the OP1.
Yeah, it kind of is, isn't it? Yeah,
it's a full particle system, simulated particle system.
Just trying to find out what they actually show in the video. You've got kind of editing things, and you can use a pen.
The nerdy, that's where it starts to get really, that's it. Yeah.
It's a massive screen too.
It's a big screen, and it's a lot of information if you want to go down to that level.
So, I mean, if we were to buy this in Australia, it's probably heading towards the $1,000 mark for a module, which, I tend personally to stay away from modules that hit that sort of price point. Like $800, $900 is kind of my limit, Australian dollars, because it's just really kind of getting a little bit ridiculous, you might as well just use a computer or something like that. So for me, I'm out, but you guys might like it, you know. Should we have a look at the Kickstarter page?
Yeah.
So the Kickstarter page, they've already reached their goal. They've doubled their goal, I guess. So I don't know whether there's any left. Where have we got? Yeah, you can still get it, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Saying 22 have gone for the package. So that particular package.
So you can get their
flux.
you can get their particles and flux, which was their previous module. These are kind of like graphical renders. Anyway, Anyway, there was an early build. That's the one that's all gone, isn't it? The early bird, yeah.
Yeah, I see that.
So you could have got it for like £50 cheaper, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Who's interested in this? Darren, does this kind of float your boat? I know you like that sort of.
It's cool.
Flashy light things.
So yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I'd just spend all day with it. Probably not create a great deal. Just playing about with it. It'd be happy accident stuff, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm like. Anything that's flashing screens, I'll just put it in the rack and then just let it do its own thing and won't actually know how to use it. It's just looking cool. You know, you've always got to have stuff looking cool to give you inspiration. I can look there and just go, wow, that's amazing. Don't know what it's doing, and I'll carry on. So, yeah.
It's kind of like the bouncing ball gone berserk, isn't it? Is that what you guys kind of think?
Yeah, creating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's like 50 bouncing balls
I think,
in this thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to take up a lot of rack space, I would have thought. So, yeah.
How many HP was it?
I like it. I don't know whether. I don't know. Yeah, it must have done. I'm sure it did. I'm presuming the screen's, because it looks quite a fairly big screen.
36 HP.
It's not as big as I
30
thought,
millimeters deep. Yeah, it's probably. How big is? Oh, okay. So for the guys who like to know what sort of computer's behind this, it's got an ARM Cortex M7. So that surprised me. I didn't think it would be as cut down as that. That's quite a small. Like, if you're wondering what an ARM Cortex M7's in, you know, Behringer's SH101 clone they did called the MS1. That's in that. It's a cheap processor. So it's interesting, but maybe they found that that's all they need to generate the logic for this thing.
Well, it's a limited number of particles, right? So
it is. It's, like I said, 50, didn't they? It does have reverse polarity protection in it with bridge rectifiers. So you know, you guys worried about plugging your thing in back to front. It's got that.
This is one of those modules where you'd like to use it for a couple of weeks and see whether you really want it or not.
You'd borrow it off a mate, wouldn't you? That's what you'd do.
Mm.
You wouldn't buy it. You'd borrow it off a mate.
Yeah, you'd be someone you'd go, oh no, you bought that? What were you thinking? Can I come and play? You'd be full of chastisement, but
these guys are definitely not sending me one now. There's a photo.
I'm having quite a few of them in a case.
There's a photo here, Darren, of the back of it. So I know you like the back of it because it's something that you never see. But there's your ARM Cortex. It's one of those. What do you call those things? There's a name for them.
Teensy? No.
Is it not? It's not a Teensy though. It's there's another name for it, like a Xeno or Zao or something. Yeah. Someone will tell me what it's called. You can get them on AliExpress.
Okay.
So yeah. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting for those who
it's definitely
like interesting modules. You can use it with flux too, by the way.
The only thing it's escaping me.
Sure.
Yeah.
The other thing is escaping me is why everybody is saying that 50 particles is not enough. What? It's,
I don't know.
40 particles more than I can handle in my brain.
Maybe what they should be.
Yes.
So maybe what they should be thinking about is them not being particles as some sort of visual thing. They should be thinking about them as being things that will actually create control voltages. So
Exactly.
that's what's happening here. There's 50 things that will create, whether it's a pitch, CV, or gate control voltage coming out. That's quite a lot.
And all of them with their own mind. It's like, why 50 is not enough? Jesus
So
Christ.
does that mean it's a 50 element sequencer
Yeah,
in a sense?
that's what.
Kind of.
At least that's what I understand.
With
That's exactly what I understand. 50 lanes.
Hey, Ranzee, you ever use
50 tracks,
electroplankton?
sequencer.
I do remember you.
got 12.
Did you show us that, Andy, once? I do remember something about that.
electroplankton.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a Nintendo DS
Yeah.
project, but made by the guy who made the Tenori on it later.
But
on.
you could move it,
And it
couldn't
was-
you?
So you had the leaves. You could angle the leaves, and the thing would bounce out the leaves and bounce, and every time it bounced, it created a tone,
Yeah.
and the pitch would change, and then you could set the trajectory, and then also you could set the I think you could set the lifespan on it, but also so many bounces would eventually expire, and it gets real busy after a while if you do it wrong, where it gets trapped in a loop, and then it just gets messy and awful. But they have other things like that in iOS that do bouncy, plinky plonky, eventually expire or go off screen kind of
Oh,
thing.
Brooksy's waiting to come in.
To do
Sorry,
that.
Brooksy.
And
That's
it's,
what we're gonna have to have. Park bench compatible,
stuff.
plinky plonky things.
Sorry, Brooksy.
Yeah.
I didn't see you there, bud.
Hello, is this working on Zoom? Can you
It is,
hear me?
mate. It is. Let me
Oh, marvellous.
Good day, Andy.
see if we can
hi,
get
Darren.
everyone
Hello.
in.
Hi, everyone else.
hello.
hello.
We'll get everyone in. We'll take Darren off there. We'll put Brooksy up in that spot where
Over
the
the
chatties are
chatties,
currently. And then we're all good, aren't we?
Yeah.
Looks like the chat's in Japanese.
Nice. I need to fix your
Oh,
Brooksy
shall I
in a
just-
sec.
So I do that. So I do that. So I do that. So that squeezed
Oh,
over a
I've
bit.
almost got
You just enter the matrix.
I will get you over a little bit so you're in the middle.
There we
I'll
go.
crop there.
Here,
you go.
Leo.
There you go. That'll do, won't it?
Hey.
Yeah,
We got
that's
the band back together.
Loving the
Yeah.
haircut, by the way.
Oh yeah, well, I just decided, sod it. It happened because of a video that I did with Grace. It was called Kartoffelsalat. It was what we did for Dean Electronic Sounds showcase, the last one, and there was loads of colour in it. Grace had done loads of sort of DaVinci Resolve effects on it and sort of blanched us out, so we were black and white. But it looked in the video like I got this sort of like mohawk strip, and I just thought, I like that. That looks cool. And
It does.
sod it. You know, I can grow old disgracefully.
Nice.
So I was supposed to go and get it retrimmed around the sides today, but I couldn't manage to get out of bed in time this morning. So I'm behind schedule on everything. So
That's okay. I like it.
cheers,
Looks
Eddie.
great. Yeah.
My pleasure.
Now I want to revisit something. So in the chat, it was a while ago, but Techno, what was his name? Technomatic was making some pretty valid points about when we were talking about filters before. He was talking about how he thinks that when if you really did blind tests on 24 dB or 12 dB filters, a lot of people wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And he was also saying, probably more importantly, that on that Maximus, there was more controls on the filter. So each band had its own switch, for example.
Brooks, did you have a go on Maximus on Synthfest?
I didn't have a go on it. You couldn't get near it, except to have a look and to ogle and say, ooh. But I don't know. I just think it's an amazing thing. And if I had that sort of spare cash lying around, but a bit like Darren mentioned earlier, where on earth in here would I put it? I don't even know if you get
I
it
don't
through the
care.
door.
I stick it to the wall if necessary.
I'd throw my bed out, my lounge out. If someone gave me one of those, holy crap, I'd be happy.
Oh, it's an amazing thing, and it did sound
fantastic at Synthfest. You know, with the demos, the scientist guy in his white suit doing his stuff again. It was great, and we got to chat with the people from Analog Solutions with Tom. They actually came out for a meal with us. I booked a big meal in a restaurant in Sheffield, and they joined in with that. So it was just nice to meet them and chat with them. You know, Tom's a really nice bloke, isn't he? He's just really easy to talk to. So yeah, I know, Eddie, you said
nice.
you bought your JV. Yeah, but it's you couldn't get on it. I mean, there were loads of people just wanting to have a play, and yet it made such a big impression. I mean, obviously because of the size of it, but also I thought the sounds were amazing. They had, I'm sure we featured it on here before, but they also had another synthesizer. I think it's a 2-oscillator mono synth that was next. It's pretty big thing, and I cannot remember the name of it now.
Oh yeah, I don't know. The thing
I've got Impulse Command in my head, but I know that was something different.
It's
yeah. It's like a voice from the Colossus, isn't it? It's got funny little triangle-y touchpads and stuff on it.
Ample?
Is that what it was called?
It was like a weird thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we were going gaga over it. I remember. It was definitely.
Yeah, I had to play on that. And it's got those
the little touch strips on it. The
Yes,
vertical
yeah,
touch
that's
strips.
right.
Yeah, it was Ample. That thing was amazing.
Yeah, I had a play on that at Synthfest. You could get to that, and I just thought that was fantastic. But again, it's not cheap. It's over 2,000 quid for a mono synth. But what a mono synth!
But neither of those things are meant to be cheap, because for what it looks from outside and what I know about Tom, you're buying a 40-year-long lifespan of a synthesizer.
No, yes, yeah. They are amazing.
I'm kind of glad it's not cheap in the sense of Behringer.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
The thing that we liked about it was it kind of had that VCS3, you know, a nod to that with the matrix of the pins, and you know, it just really was kind of old school meets new school with the patinator. I remember talking about this thing. I mean, £2,000 is actually not bad when you think about what's gone into this thing. Yeah, I really like it. But yeah, that that Maximus, holy crap, yeah. Yeah.
It's another detail that is kind of funny. It's in the Ample, if you've seen the touchpads, those copper colored touchpads, that looks his presentation card I think presentation card that he was given to everybody in Synthfest, because he gave me one of the first editions, is actually that functionality in a visit card. It's awesome. you have to solder the components, but when it's done, it's exactly the touchpads. Only 4 of them instead of 5, I think, or 6 that the Ample has. But it was such a brilliant idea. That guy's a genius.
I just remember like loving some of the innovation in that Ample. Like there was innovation in it, and it wasn't. So it was in a way, it's like if you were to do a VCS3 today, what would you do? You'd probably do that, you know. It kind of, it had some coolness about it. Like it was more to it than just that patinator too. There was something else about it, I forget now. I think it had something to do with the noise. There was a noise thing on it. Anyway, I'm gonna have to go revisit my video on it. But yeah, Technomatic, good points about the Maximus, definitely. I mean, you guys are lucky in the UK because you guys have got access. I mean, in some cases, you probably think, oh my God, I have to drive all the way to Sheffield, and you might live in Bath or something, you know what I mean? Like, but for us, Chris and I live in, like, literally, if we want to drive anywhere else that's not a country town, it's a 2.5 to 3 day drive to the nearest city.
That's mad, isn't it?
Which is Adelaide. And you know, if you guys were to do that, you'd be sort of heading into sort of the eastern part of Germany. You know, that's the sort of distances.
Oh no, you could drive to the eastern parts of Germany easy in 24 hours.
Oh, there you go. So you might be in Russia then.
3 days. Yeah. It's mad, isn't it?
It's insane.
I've just learned a lesson, right? Because I was going to mention also Analog Solutions had by far the best sticker at Synthfest, which is on my case. So I've just closed the lid of the case to show you where I have stuck it, forgetting that there are a load of modules which I haven't actually screwed in yet, so they all fell out. So don't close the lid of your module of your case without screwing your modules in, because then you look like a bit of a willy.
Yeah.
So
screw your modules in. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. There's a guy on YouTube that does lots of synth reviews, and he is literally called Penis Head. So if you want to look like a willy,
yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's some German bloke, I think, isn't it, from his accent? I quite like his videos. They're always very funny.
Well, he's actually quite knowledgeable. That's the thing.
No, yeah, he is. Yeah.
And it's kind of one of those kind of weird things where you're like, hang on a minute, this penis head thing is kind of making me feel uncomfortable, but holy crap, you know what you're talking about. It's kind of weird. Anyway,
Disappeared in the cloud.
you did. Yes. There was one other thing I wanted to talk about before we go into any other parts of the show, and that is this. And it's kind of only just come out in the news in the last day or two. If you're wondering what it is, it says it below. Apple Vision Pro is the platform that you can get this on, and it's Animoog's Galaxy. So I don't know if you guys know much about Apple Vision Pro, but it's friggin' expensive to buy as a platform. So I don't really know what Apple are trying to do with that, though. It's out of reach for most people, really is. But anyway, this thing is pretty cool though. So it's not the first time we've seen VR, virtual reality type synths, but I thought we'd have a quick look at their website anyway. Does anyone want to sort of talk about this? Has anyone kind of digested this and gone, oh, I really like this, it's cool? I mean, obviously, we've all seen Animoog before. Animoog's a great little app, and there's some cool things that you can do with it. So they've obviously brought the code of Animoog into this, but, you know, giving it more stuff with the Vision Pro platform. Some of these are screenshots, you know. So I like this with the picture of Bob there in the corner. Pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, if you already had the Apple Vision Pro platform and you wanted to buy this, it's actually not that expensive. It's only $30 to get this software to go on the platform. So I mean, that's a no-brainer, right? But yeah, so anyway, that's kind of what the interface looks like. From what I can read, I had a quick read of this website, and you probably be more up on it than me, because I know you like this sort of stuff as well. But it pretty much just comes across as if it's like the Animoog, but in the VR platform, right? That's kind of how it comes across to me.
Yeah, it's more in your face because it's, you know, presented in 3D. So it's you know, it's a gimmick, but I mean, so was the one for DeepMind that they did, the little AR VR thing. That was still a cool idea. But I mean, it's one of those things where you're not going to wear a headset. I don't know. It depends on. I don't know how many guys are into VR stuff at all, but I've been using VR since the 90s, early 90s at SIGGRAPH, when they were like $50,000 headsets, and you know, you get used to this haptic gloves and all this kind of stuff. It's fun. But after a while, your head gets hot, just like when you wear headphones too long, your ears get all sweaty, and it's just not something you'd want to be in for hours unless you're really, really into this stuff. And to spend a lot of money on something like this that is kind of a niche thing, it's fun, but I don't know how much staying power it has for somebody. So it's a good thing it's not very expensive once you already have the gear. Because if you had to pay like $200-300 for it, it'd be like, oh, really? You know. So I don't know. I'd like to try it, but you know, it's not. I get sweaty in the gear, so I don't want to sit in there for hours. Like, oh, I'm going to play with synths in a VR space for a while. Yeah, it's just not that much fun.
I mean, the only one that I've ever really used is the Oculus Rift, which is now going back a bit, right? Because that was kind of one of
the games and stuff. Yeah, they're fun.
One of the first. I wasn't a real big fan of it. And then, you know, Facebook had one, which I think is probably, I don't know if it's still.
Well, they bought the Oculus Facebook bought the Oculus.
Yeah.
Technology.
PlayStation's got one. There's the HTC one. I think was pretty popular.
Yeah, HTC Vive was a very good one for a while.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But this Apple thing, it's kind of really quite expensive. Like when I was looking at this Moog thing, I actually didn't realize how expensive Apple Vision Pro was. And what I'm trying to work out is Apple doing this because they need to claw back some of the R&D that they've put into this product? Who can talk about like the Apple Vision Pro a little bit more than what I know, because I don't really know anything about it, to be fair. But other than the fact that I was surprised how expensive it was. Does anyone know about the Apple Vision Pro?
I know they've been working on it for a long time.
Well, I know a couple of facts that I read from the release, and a little bit of digging that I did on it on what's available when they release. And first thing, I think it's a laptop inside a goggle.
Right.
So that's one of the things that explains the price. It's basically a MacBook inside your goggles. I don't know if they managed to make it light enough and comfortable enough. Second is the fact that, you see, it looks like it's see-through, or some way you can set it up as it being see-through. No, that thing is an external screen that is with internal cameras looking at your eyes and moving that image to the outside screen. So it's doing a lot of processing and eye movement and eyeball and face recognition sampling on real time. And for what I read, the cable only tethers you to the battery pack, which I don't remember if it's absolutely necessary or if it's only necessary if you want to have more than a 1 hour long or 2 hour long session with it.
So is it like a monitor replacement, basically? Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, you can watch.
Yeah, but all the technology inside it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in fact, it has two processors.
Yeah, because it's
one for the outside, one from the inside.
Yeah.
So it's basically two laptops, a dual CPU laptop on your goggles. Because, as I said, and that's what worries me, because it does. I don't know if they managed to make it light enough, because all the processing power is in the goggles. That cable that comes from the thing is just a USB-C plug to a power pack. There's no communication, no technology on that wire.
Yeah, because you're saying before
it's got heavier than the other headsets, because they've had to introduce a band to go over the top of your head because of the slight excess weight. Yeah. Over time, when you've been sat there for an hour with it, it starts to get. But I think this is the reason it's so expensive. It's mainly for hoping that a lot of developers will start on it first. I think because obviously the cost will eventually come down to everything trickles through, doesn't it? Down. It's all the new cameras and the sensors and.
Exactly.
It's a mobile phone.
At 4K.
It's a mobile phone.
It's more powerful than a mobile phone.
Yeah. It's like
two mobile phones.
Yeah, it's the M2 with the R1, and they have. I'm just looking here. They've got 3 different models of storage on them. Yeah, so it's basically Apple's hardware. I get it now. Okay, cool. I'm just kind of.
Well, if you remember when they launched it, they clearly went as a lifestyle accessory kind of thing, where you wear it for hours. It has AR, VR, so you don't trip over stuff. You can see where you're going with it on. And it has the fake eyes on there, so you feel comfortable looking at people. They look back and see eyes, even though those aren't your eyes.
Exactly.
But it's again, as much as I love VR, I've used it for decades. Who wants to use it all day long? Right?
Sit there on a train.
Exactly.
And someone thinks you're staring at them.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. But you can choose to show it or not show it. But for instance, if you go to Zoom, it shows it automatically. It detects which software you're using and if the software is going to require. But at the same time, the camera that is looking at you on the goggles, it's in the same goggles. It's not really looking you from outside like you would have with a cell phone. No, it's the goggles itself is looking at your eyes and sending 3D, these filters like on the Apple on devices, you can change your face to being ugly or old or young or a female. that's what is sending to whoever you communicate with. The internal cameras is looking at your face to recreate a 3D, a CG, an avatar version of you to whoever is looking at you. And this is what Brooks was referring to. This is the promotional sticker that Analog Solution was giving away in Synfest. It's 3D, it's plastic, and it's a sticker. So that's the only piece of Analog Solution I will ever be able to afford.
Wasn't there something else though? Wasn't there like a, I don't know, Quest or MetaQuest or something?
What about it?
Yeah, MetaQuest.
There was another one that was kind of like, hey Apple, I'm gonna stick this up your bum. Here's our solution, and it's cheaper. You know, there's always someone out there that's doing that.
Yeah.
But in the Apple version, sort of cross between augmented reality.
Yeah, AR. Yeah.
You know,
AR, VR.
Yeah.
As well as VR, whereas the others are just VR. And it's a very sort of cheap, I wouldn't say cheap, it's a very sort of limited down sort of motion capture on the inside of the goggles. So it's really technically done. I mean, like I say, it's not for the everyday people at the moment, I don't think, until they get I think this is just a building step, and it's just going to progress. You know, it's going to have to get lighter, more complex, cheaper, and then. But I think that's why because it was going to bring it out last year originally, but then it was delayed.
Sadly,
they found the weight was a bit too much, so they put a band on.
In a way, there's one good thing about it though, right, Eddie? And that is that have you ever sat on a train or in a public place and you thought to yourself, I want to do something on my phone, and I really don't want someone to see what I've got on my screen.
Privacy. Yep.
Yeah. And these things,
you can have a full-on blown.
You can be watching porn. Sit next to a grandma.
But if you tune out too much, someone's going to run by and grab it off you and leave the train. You've got to rip it off.
That's where I went first, Chris.
But careful. No, because with the Apple ones, you can choose the degree of enhanced reality, how see-through or how much of the external cameras goes through what you see looking inside.
If you're zoned in,
so you can be.
It doesn't matter. If you're focused, you're not even going to look at that shit.
But check the demos, because they do it very smartly. You can choose the size of the screen if you want full screen, block all my view, or it's just a very big square in the distance, like you still get the 16:9 relation, but you still can see everything around it.
Yeah, you can fade in reality and fade out reality.
Exactly.
And you can
sadly.
Your screen from your computer in and fade it in and out. So
have a look at Legacy's comment.
And you can choose.
Sorry, I'm trying to highlight his comment here, but it's not working for me. Legacy's comment just is about halfway down the screen right now.
yes, we all do. Sadly, although I think this technology was two things. This technology is going to come, because I'm a firm believer that the film Ready Player One is nothing but a prophecy. That will happen. We're heading that direction on full speed. Second, sadly, I'm a customer of that technology, because all I do is at home. And if I want to go anywhere, either I can't afford it or I don't have the time. So basically, I'm the target customer. Sadly, I don't have the target economy to afford it. But let me remind you that the final target of this is to shrink the goggles all the way to just shades.
Yeah.
And it would happen.
Oh yeah.
I don't know at what price. I don't know when.
It's like the iPhone. It's the first product in that range, and it's going to start with. That's like I say, it's starting so expensive because they've got to pay for the R&D, and all the designers have got to start writing stuff for this thing for people to want to buy it, which then brings the price down, and then it becomes lighter.
But now they have to come up with a new nickname, because the Google Glass guys are called glass holes. And what are they going to call these guys?
Yeah, but Darren, careful. What I understand from the Apple Vision is it doesn't require special software. It runs macOS. So anything developed for macOS, although you'll have to develop it, the same thing you have to develop on Windows, your applications to allow for touch screens, you will have to integrate extra controllers. but a standard flat keyboard thing will still run on Apple Vision. It's a laptop.
Oh yeah,
It's just the screen is different.
More products yeah, it's for more products to sort of use the VR rather than just be another product you can run on your Mac. They want people to sort of entice you into the VR by the products coming out that are sort of use the VR. You know, for you to. I mean, I do like the pinching and the dragging. I mean, that's with the cameras on the outside. It's getting, like I say, it's getting very frighteningly true to like quite a few films we've seen.
Oh, hi Jim.
Minority Report, yeah.
Jim.
That Jim.
Jim's back.
Like a bad smell.
Where can we put Jim? Jim, where can we put you, mate?
In the
Take me away. I'm fine.
No.
Here's the eye candy.
Squashing up.
Just that little spot.
We'll move you somewhere. Okay, let me see if I can move you.
Right in the middle, on the line.
Can you get Jim to like just bounce around the screen slowly so he can be in every square? Just like
Physics
ping pong.
simulation. There you go.
Randomly bounce around. That would be cool.
I'll just hang out down
I
here.
can actually play Pong on my console run fader, by the way. It's got an Easter egg in there.
Sorry, Handy. I'm trying to fix it.
Or what would be really cool is if he got us all to do like particles, so we're just moving around the screen randomly.
Oh, that wouldn't get confusing.
if you move him to yeah, or
Maybe a little bit below. This is really bad, Huck.
Do it 8 up. Can't you do 8 up with a chat window?
Hey,
There we go.
crunching.
Why just get rid of me? You guys don't need me. Why don't I just do that?
You can shift him in. There's more room.
Why don't you put it on the keyboard, on that round symbol, on top of that round symbol?
I'll just
Yeah.
I'll be a good host and I'll get rid of myself. Easy.
No,
There's plenty of room here.
Easy peasy. Easy
Plenty
peasy.
of room
I'm
here.
gonna miss you.
He's
There's
number
loads of room.
80H. Number 80H.
Yeah, if I move over here, look, Jim, you can come and sit in the
Exactly.
studio there.
Come on, guys, squeeze in. Let him give him some room.
All right. Let's see if we can put him in the. Which one was he? 88. I said, didn't I? 88.
Yeah.
And then I need to move that. Oops. Down. No, not that one.
It's where's
It's
Jim
a set.
gonna pop up?
Okay. Sorry, wrong side. And no, oh, come
So
on.
to climb over the top of his monitor.
Hang on, I'm trying to get the right one here. There we go.
That's it.
Let's move him. I don't know.
Go on.
A little higher. Get that's the
You've
one.
welcomed him now.
we're gonna take it higher. We're gonna walk down to,
Electric
Electric
Avenue.
Avenue. and then we'll take it higher.
Copyright strike, copyright strike.
Darren's idea was good.
Yeah.
Let's,
Oh, there you
let's
go.
shrink.
Wait,
That'll do.
that Trump used to do.
Jim's beginning to
Oh
feel-
yeah, oh yeah, look at that everyone. Jim's in the house. That'll do. We'll do that, okay? Cool.
Thank you very
Done.
much.
Everyone's in.
Oh, it's like the. Oh,
So yeah, I'm kind of. Let's go back to the
Killed the
Animoog,
YouTube impression,
right?
haven't
VR, and you're sitting on the bus, or you're sitting on the train. I don't know, or you're sitting next to a grandma in the park, and you're playing with the Moog gravity
grandma.
Animoog, and you're sort of doing all this stuff with your hands. I just.
Like those creepy eyes looking out.
I'm just thinking, maybe just stay at home and do this stuff, people.
It's going to look really dodgy when you
Or park
trying to
bench.
grab
Park
the
bench.
Yeah.
Please do interrupt me. I'm making art.
I wonder if
the price of all that though, you could just go and buy a mini Moog and do it for real.
I know
No
it's
comprendo.
so expensive.
No.
Imagine the filter face, right? Imagine what how that picture of the eyes might change, Andy, and you've got that filter face. Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Filter.
Eyes got big and then swing down.
Soon it'll just be like an implant, and that'll be it. You'll just see people with these formless expressions
Yeah.
on part.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just go.
I mean that.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was on a call.
That is
I do that
that is
anyway.
freaky. When as soon as you guys told me that's not really her
What it
eyes,
was,
that's
that
that is really
jumped
freaky.
into the uncanny valley.
Do they
quite
blink?
quickly.
That's a good.
I think
Do they blink?
I think they do, yeah.
From your eyes.
They do.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
But
after
it's kind of like,
SkipLog's
with other people doing
lost
these
novel.
flight sims
they-
and driving
do
sims
androids
and
blink?
stuff. And then people are saying kids are doing like shopping clerk simulators on their computers now. Like it's a fun thing to do. It's like, well, you don't want to do that job for a living, right? But kids think this stuff is fun because it's in the computer as a simulator.
Oh,
So you can take the most mundane things and make a game out of it. And it's just a weird thing. Once you make it virtual and kind of new in that way, people seem to like it, even if it's just a goddamn synthesizer in a window.
do you remember that movie Employee of the Month, Andy? Where have you seen it?
Yeah.
Where
that
it's
Jim
like a
Carrey?
competition about how quickly they can pack a shopping trolley as it's going through the checkout, right? I mean,
Exactly, yeah.
it's almost old now
Amazon.com.
because now everyone has to do their own checkout these days, don't they?
But it's a novel thing. It'll wear off after a while until they get better things for it. But
So if I click
anyone
on
who's used VR, I've used VR a lot, so I've tried different stuff. But some people it's still new to them.
I've just
So they'll
clicked
go, oh,
on
this is
buy.
cool. I'll try this for a while.
Here we go.
You
Buy.
buy one.
Yeah, why not? Let's buy one. $291 a month for 12 months.
Ugh.
Eh? Yeah, let's not
That's
do that.
less than some people's
Let's
It's a
not do that.
laptop.
subscription fee to pay to.
Okay,
These days.
am I the only one who thinks that the hand gesticulation could be the only nail in the coffin of VR or enhanced reality or HR? Because, yeah, it's fun for 5 minutes, but if you actually need to do a full project, hold your hands on the air, or, I mean, like with no actual physical things that hold your hands, that's because I'm fibromyalgic. That's the biggest image of hell to me. Exactly, having to
Personally,
hold your
that's
hands.
the next
only-
step. They'll have
the only
haptic
time
gloves
I
like
ever-
the Mew gloves that Imogen Heap uses. There'll be haptic gloves.
Yeah, but yeah, you get the feeling. I get that. No, but there's nothing physical holding
the-
your limbs.
A bit like the Jip
Arms,
Rockers,
arms up.
Chris. You know the Jip Rocker trade? The ones that do the ceiling Jip Rocking?
Oh yeah, the ones who do the ceiling. Yeah.
They literally, blood is literally running down their arms and they're like this all day.
Yeah.
They must have
Yeah.
like the best. They must have the best hearts in the world, those guys, because they are literally
I mean,
defying gravity,
The,
putting ceiling panels.
the best
Maybe
the best example that I
Yes.
can show it, and that's what I tell everybody is because to me it's totally irrational. Those virtual drum kits that is, for instance, nothing but your feet on two sensors or two sticks on the air. To my understanding, more than 70% of playing drums is the bounce from a physical surface. You remove that from
Haptics.
playing drums.
Yeah,
No,
the problem is
not.
that.
It's not about feeling the stick or the skin in your hand. It's about the physicality that the piece of wood
Yeah.
bounces back. If you remove that,
That's a
that's
good
not drumming anymore.
The what's that?
All your
What's that
techniques
called?
go off the window.
yeah, drum.
The
I would call it haptics, but it's not.
No, there's a-
reaction
Yeah,
force.
trying to do fast strokes in that situation is just not going to happen. Really.
Exactly. All the drum
but you
techniques,
see,
all the
the
modern
point
drum
there,
techniques go out the
what
window.
What they will do is once you've got it, so it's literally as good as it can be. They will get a fake drum kit then for you to actually play, even though it'll still be playing.
Well, like
In your
Brooksy
headset.
said,
See my point?
like Brooksy said,
See
why-
my point?
and the guys in chat are saying it. Why not just do it for
Blow
real?
up kit.
Why not just buy a real Mini Moog and do it for real? That's what the guys in chat are saying.
That's the gimmick.
Technomatic saying it, and then someone else said it before. Buy one for real, because you probably spend the same amount.
Eddie said,
It's
is this the
gets
only
people
thing that's gonna put it? You know, the only downside. No, there is another downside. The only other time I tried virtual reality goggles, I felt so sick.
that too.
And then the nausea was
Some people
awful.
can't do it.
Yeah.
After about 10 minutes, I can't do this anymore. This is just horrible.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I
Yeah.
find it fatiguing.
So
I'm
It could
hoping-
become
it's
like
there.
3D TV.
You have to have good spatial inner ear balance, all that sort of stuff to be able to handle that.
Exactly.
If you get motion sickness, you'll probably not be good with VR.
You know the Apple Vision thing? Does it have any kind of like proximity detection for objects around you or walls? Or anything like that?
Yeah,
It can show you the outside in the visor. You can choose
That's the
how much
proximity sensor.
penetration of the outside.
But Jim, I'm thinking
you're
like you're doing the mini Moog, you're trying to adjust the filter, and you're walking down the street, and all of a sudden some chick walks up to you, and you've literally just gone like that, and you're I'm totally sorry about that.
My dinner's ready, so I'm going to
Oh,
jump out.
somebody's going to jail.
Have something to eat,
care, Andy.
and then I'm going to do the jobs that I didn't do this morning because I stayed in bed. So, right, you can put Jim into this box.
Oh, okay.
Right, anyway, take care, folks. We'll catch up soon.
See you,
Bye, mate.
Nice to see you.
Uh,
Cheers, mate.
But by the way, it does have proximity sensors like on a drone for if you get close to walls and things like that.
Right.
So if you're in full VR mode.
All the footage of people like smashing their TVs and stuff.
but if you're really into it, I bet it's not going to be that useful because you're focused on something. You're still going to crash into stuff, and
Oh yeah.
One thing.
Warning. I did tell you.
One thing. Any of you have seen the release of the adaptive floor?
Ooh.
No.
I've seen something
It's out.
like it.
It's out. It's once again, Ready Player One. They show you something that is impossible. It's like a treadmill, but it moves in four directions.
4 directions.
They made it. It's out. They released a set of tiles that it will adapt to your movement to keep you in the same spot, but you're actually moving your legs and running and walking in the spot. It's already out.
I've seen them developing those kind of things, but I haven't seen
Yep.
a recent update.
As I said, Ready
Check it
Player
out.
One is not
The sad-
sci-fi. It's just premonition.
Yeah, but it's a sad future because everyone's whole life is inside the VR because the world sucks.
Yeah, but my whole life
want
is
that.
already inside
we
four
don't want
walls.
that. Yeah, but we don't want that.
yes, I
'cause the
do.
whole-
Might be surprised. Yeah.
Yes,
how
I
much
do.
Isn't.
I'd rather that than having to deal with all the nut cases out there.
You'll deal with
Some
virtual
people
Because
will-
that's
You're gonna
Will
they'll just be
thrive in that
online.
environment.
Uh,
You're doing VR.
Totally.
sorry. Jim, say
it's
what?
humanity. You can't get away from the nutcases. So
Yeah.
Oh yes, I can. Trust me, I manage.
No, you can't. Like, you can't.
Well, you're on,
Look,
you're on
look at
here.
the
by
VR.
yourself, basically.
They're on the roads. They're in the cities. They're in the parks. They're on the plains.
That's
They are
That's
everywhere.
why I don't use
Doing
them.
the VR.
Especially the park benches. Watch out for those guys on the park benches.
Hey, leave our park benches alone, okay? Sometimes that's where we do our best work.
Well, anyway,
With your Apple goggles.
I am
staring at
glad
people,
that you guys are on the same page with me about this whole VR thing with the synthesizer, because I literally was worried about when I brought this topic up, like, because I know there's going to be some people that, oh, this is going to be really cool, we can like, and I'm like,
Yeah, no.
but I've got to touch
It's cool, but it's not a
I've got to
replacement.
touch something physical. I've got to have that tactile, whatever the word is, feedback.
I'll play a theremin.
Yeah. Well, we talked about theremins the other day. It's kind of weird. Theremins are weird. It takes a really special, like, you know.
So about 20 years ago, I used to have a MIDI theremin in the studio. It's made by
Oh, that digital thing.
no, this was
Zeppelin Labs.
it was a real boutique British thing. There was like
Okay.
one guy built the theremin and somebody else built the sort of MIDI CV interface for it.
Right.
But you could basically sort of use it as a MIDI controller for Logic, which I did at the time, which was just mental
Yeah.
because most hardware keyboards couldn't deal with the
hmm
automento and the pitch. It would just sort of just glide through.
There is one out there by Zeppelin Labs.
Wags.
But with soft synths, it was amazing. It just alter the bass pitch of the oscillators smoothly. It's incredible.
Cool.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what we should do? We should talk about some stuff that we can buy right now. And if you watch my show regularly, these things will kind of like, oh yeah, we talked about that last week. Like this one. First one off the ranks. Hopefully, if it comes up properly. Please work. Nope. Okay.
Dun-dun-dun.
All right, we'll do this one. We'll do this one. Yes, we did talk about this last week, but what we did talk about last week was the Behringer UBX, right? Didn't we? Why is that? Sorry, Elgato thing there. Anyway, leave it there for now. So here is a Oberheim OBX 1979 8-voice polyphonic analog synthesizer, the original. And if you're wondering, halve it for pounds, 32,000 Australian dollars. Where's it based? It's based in Norway. Oh my god, that is a lot of money for. I just don't know if that would be what I would buy anyway. But it is actually live on Reverb. You can buy it if you want. I can click buy it now, right now.
They've literally just put in their order for the Behringer one, haven't they?
That's what I'm thinking. But it's in pretty good nick. It's very good condition.
Ooh, it's an EMS.
They've got the armour all out and they've made it look good.
Hey, Ranzee, I'm not sure if you have
everything
time,
look
but I
good.
put 2 in the chat, and one might be right up Kent's alley if he's still around in the chat somewhere.
I haven't seen him. He's probably given up on his vocoder. Now I need to go. Yeah.
Wish I could.
Oh, don't even know how they work, mate. Right. Let's do this one now.
Still trying to find the perfect vocoder.
This is the one I actually meant to get up straight away. First up was the Oscar. Do you remember how last week we were talking about the Oscar? 10,000 Australian bucks, £5,000 for an Oscar. Would you pay it? This is this is live on Reverb right now. Would you pay £5,000 for an Oscar? This one's in. This one's in North. Is it North Bedford? Is that how you say it? NR Bedford. Is that North Bedford, or is that something else? Or Nor Bedford? It's one of those words, is it?
Near Bedford it is.
Near Bedford. You English people do weird things. It's I don't know. Some people like the look of this, but it's just really weird looking, this synth, isn't it? This is a Chris synthesizer, so you know it's his first, wasn't it? The Oscar. Chris Hackett's first, right?
The Wasp, isn't it? Isn't it Wasp?
Oh, was the Wasp his first? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, £5,000 for an Oscar.
I call it the elephant.
I wouldn't get this because I have Imposter 2 and the touch digital controller, so it's better than this.
It's so delineated. It's like that's a filter there, and that filter is not allowed into the next section. It's like there's the line.
The circuits are so powerful that we need to separate.
They don't break the knobs
physically.
They don't want the electrons to jump over to the next circuit.
It was to protect the knobs, I thought, when they transported it.
Yeah, it was. You're spot on, Andy.
Yeah, that's
Sorry, Andy. We're being unserious, and you're like definitely.
No, I mean it also does compartmentalize it too. But
yeah. What about this? This is the K memory rhythm machines.
Yeah.
And when I looked at this, and I thought to myself, what is this like? You know, what is this similar to? I think this is kind of similar to the Boss DR55 Dr. Rhythm, right?
Okay.
And so they would, because DR55 was kind of pricey at the time when they first came out. So this would have been like a possible alternative. And $200 Australian, £100. That's not bad. When do they bring these out? I have no idea. We can look at the text here. If it says anything. It does say that. It's basically a take on the Boss DR55. There you go. They were sold as DIY kits back in the 80s, but functionally identical to the Boss DR55. How much is a Boss DR55? That's the question. So, you know, they're pretty basic, the Boss DR55, if I remember right. It might be a good little pickup for someone for £100. Was £100? But what is it, about 120 US, somewhere around there. That one's probably a nice decent find. And do I have one more? I do have one more. Have you guys heard of these things?
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Gee, I wonder where that come from.
I have one in my M3.
You got one in your M3? Tell us about it, Andy. What is it?
It's the Radius synth in a card.
Yeah. So what does it do to your
Wow.
M3?
Turns it into a virtual analog synth.
Mhm.
So basically what it does is it gives your M3 another 24 voices of virtual analog polyphony. It's basically a radius synth but on a card, and your M3 can access all of the software features. 2 oscillators, noise generator. It has 8 waveforms: saw, square, triangle, sine, formant. It's got the DWGS waveform that Korg have been talking about in their new synths lately. Has audio in features where you can manipulate it with the vocoder. It's got a vocoder in it as well. Radius has got an excellent vocoder, by the way. If you guys think about the latest Microkorg version 2 that came out, that had the DWGS waveforms in it, this card has it in there. So if anyone's got an M3 and they don't have this EXB radius, these are quite rare, aren't they, Andy, these cards, to get?
They are now, yeah. Not when I got it, but yeah.
Well, I'm selling this. This is my listing on Reverb. I'm selling this, if you haven't gathered.
I didn't even
Okay.
notice.
Yeah. And anyone who wants to buy it, they can get it off of Reverb.
They're really good, aren't they? Yeah.
They are really good. But what's even better
I was
about
about
it
to
is it's in the original box. Look at that. Hey, original box.
with
You gotta
manuals.
sign the box, Ranzee. You gotta sign it.
Oh yeah.
Manual, original
Oh, yeah.
manual, and original mounting screws. You know, you can't get a better deal than that.
Ooh.
840 and half it for pounds, 400 and something pounds. Come on. For a radius?
I think it's affordable.
Serious. For a radius, guys. Anyway,
I think it's affordable.
that's price spots for the week. I think the best deal is definitely the EXB radius card. Jump onto Reverb. It's on there right now.
Did you want to see the ones I put in
Get it
chat,
while
Ranzee? You had
it's
time
there.
for it.
We've got time. We've got to go through the Ableton 12. Begrudgingly,
okay.
some people probably won't.
Nice.
Yeah, can we do it next week? We'll do those next
Yeah,
week.
it's fine.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
One second. Jim, can you check the chat in Zoom, please?
Can I?
That's it. Move on.
There's a chat in Zoom.
No, it's for Jim. Well, you can do too, but it's for Jim.
Oh, okay. The Zoom's got its own chat. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
Now, I did promise that we would talk about the Ableton 12, and I actually promised we'd talk about it a couple of weeks ago, but we haven't really got to that yet, have we? So let's do it now. So Ableton 12, took me a little while to get the beta program across to me. I don't know why. They probably had a massive list, and I'm just not important. Don't worry, I won't cry. Okay, so there it is here, Ableton 12. And I've got this thing hooked up to various things. I think kind of what we should probably do is just talk about what the new features are, just to refresh everyone's memories. Okay, so MIDI transformations are one of the new features. You can create a variety of simple or complex variations to MIDI clips. So MIDI clips are these, up here you've got your clips. All right, you can create a clip. Okay, insert an empty clip. These are your MIDI clips here. Okay, and then when you've created your clip down here, okay, there's this transform stuff down here. And there's also other types of variations as well, which I can get to in a sec. So you can add ornaments, articulations, you can draw accelerations, deceleration curves, you can connect successive notes and chords and simulate strumming of a guitar and stuff like that. So if I was to, randomly put some notes in here, this is a step sequencer kind of mode at the moment, but if I was to randomly do that and play it, I'd have to send that somewhere, wouldn't I? But we're not gonna hear it for now. I could probably put it onto a VST or something. But this is kind of where you can muck around with this transform down here, right? So you can click on generate down here, and you've got, let's get zooming in onto this thing here. So you can do things like Euclidean generators, and you can manipulate this. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff that is all new in Ableton 12. So this is stuff that you guys are going to be looking forward to getting. Now, on top of that, all that stuff that you see, that's just built into the vanilla part of Ableton. You also are going to be able to manipulate some of this stuff in Max for Live, so you can actually draw little connections and algorithms and stuff like that in Max for Live. I'm not going to go into it because I don't know how to do it myself yet, but there is the ability to do the Max for Live stuff in here, where you go into this Max MIDI generator, which is the bottom one, right? And you can it becomes a little bit more sort of programmable in that sense, and I'm sure people will get really into their MIDI stuff with that. So as I mentioned, you can sort of do things like melodies and chords and rhythms with these generators, so that the rhythms there, these are all the different types of rhythms you've got. Probably helps if I actually had some sound coming out, but 8 steps, 7 steps, you can see all this kind of happening as I'm doing it. See how that's manipulating the MIDI there? Look at that. Patterns, density, right? There we go. Let's get some sound on this, eh? Should we put a plug-in on this? Put an Arturia plug-in. What should we do? 2600? That'll do. Alright, let's do a 2600. Let's just pick a basic patch. That'll do. And we'll go back to the clip. We can hide this now. So this is all manipulating MIDI, and you couldn't do this sort of stuff before. You actually would have had to have recorded it somehow, or you would have had to have generated it somehow, right? Let's have a look at the...
Or use Max for Live, yeah.
Yeah, or use Max for Live. The Euclidean one. All the sort of stuff you can do. It's pretty cool. Like, you just have a lot of fun with this stuff. Don't judge how good I am on Ableton, because I've only had this for about a week, right? But I'm just kind of trying to show you guys some of the new features as we go through. There's I think I showed you this on the I did a live stream on the Zoom a couple of weeks ago, where we can look at different tunings. So that's interesting. So let's have a quick look at that. We don't need to dwell on it because you guys know what tunings are. So these are different parts of the world. We should have had Brooksy stay on because he would be able to pronounce it all for me. Like Daska, Daska-E, Dashti. These are all different tunings. Some of you people would know a lot more about this than me. Like the tertial D flat, F sharp, and you literally, once you choose one of these tunings, all of the things that you do inside Ableton will be based on these tunings, right? So, and that's the thing, like some parts of the world, have different tuning, and in the past it's been difficult for them to use DAWs because they're just based on that standard A 440 hertz tuning, right? So that's important for people. What else is about it? The tunings are also MPE compatible as well, so that's important to know. There's new Max for Live MIDI tools, which I mentioned before, MIDI editing improvements, which I didn't mention. So if we zoom out of here and we go into the MIDI editing, you'll see there's new stuff in here. So like for example, with a note, you always were able to do stuff like this, right? With notes, but now they've got other things like you can arrange the order of a selection of notes by pitch. So I could select all of those and then I can arrange them in terms of scale, pitch. You can join notes, you can fit to arrange. So I'll just see if I can zoom in on this menu options you get here. So these are some of the new editing features that you get, like chopping notes on a grid, joining, fitting to arrange, grouping, I think was there before. But there's a whole bunch of extra stuff in here. So editing MIDI's improved a lot. I still personally think that Ableton still has a lot to grow in the MIDI side. I've always thought Ableton really lacks the MIDI editing features. So some of these things that I've just shown you are actually brilliant to have. But still there's more to go, I feel. Keys and scales, there's there's a live control bar. You can actually see notes now up here. This is all new up here now, so you can actually see what's happening. You can change it. That didn't used to be there before, I believe. If anything I say is wrong, let me know, because I'm just reading off a spreadsheet thing that's been given to me from Ableton. Expanded probability, that's a new one. Assign a single probability rule to a group of notes so that the entire group of notes played whenever the trigger is fired. So you could do things like, back in that sequence that we looked at before, we could group all that. I don't know if it's in that little pop-up thing there. Forget where the probability thing's gone. Where is it? There is it. It has disappeared. It's probably in here somewhere. It's in here somewhere. Anyway, I can't find it off the top of my head. We didn't look at the transform stuff that much either, but that arpeggiate, connect, ornament's interesting. You could do things like flams and grace notes and strumming and stuff like that. That's pretty interesting.
Lilts.
Time warps, spans, kind of cool.
Strum would be good.
Yeah. So like maybe I want those notes there to drum, and
Probably too short.
do you see that?
There you go. Oh, that's cool.
So let's try that. Yeah, it's kind of doing it. It's a bad patch, but it's kind of doing it. We'd probably need,
That don't sound like a guitar at all.
we'd need a guitar patch for that one. Yeah.
Don't push me. Can you transpose? I assume you can you?
Yeah, you can transpose. Yeah.
Could you transpose that sequence 1 octave higher, please?
The way I know how to do it is kind of probably the old way, but it's kind of easy. So what you do is you go in, you highlight it all, Command A, and you just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's the old way of doing it, right?
Cool.
So that's how you would transpose. Now that is a pain in the ass. Would you agree? Because what if you accidentally don't press it properly? So for me, that's a pain in the ass. There's actually a really easy way. It's been in Ableton for years to do it. There's a real easy way to do it. So what you would do is you go into device view. So that's like MIDI editing view there, right? And you click on this view now. They've got this really cool extra now where you can actually click on device view. So now you can actually see your devices on your. So I'm on this track here, the ARP track. There's my MIDI editor, and now my devices are down here. If I go into MIDI effects and I scroll down and I click on pitch, I can drop that into this side of the device, and I can transpose any semitone I want, literally just by adding that in.
Yeah, that's way better.
That's much easier because that's more, you've actually got more. And in fact, the other thing you can do is see how it's got those little square brackets around it. That is modulatable. That means that's modulatable or automatable, I should say.
Cool. Yeah, Cubase does this operation by control keys in your alphanumeric keyboard. I think is shift up is 1 pitch, 1 semitone, but control up is a whole octave. Jumps in octaves.
Yeah. So.
Shift and up is an octave in Ableton.
Yeah, shift and up. That's right.
See?
Yeah. Yeah, Command A. Oh, so we'll go in here. Command A. But there's a new feature too, Darren, in 12, which I want to show you. So Command A and you go Shift up, Shift down. Yeah, it's doing it. Yeah, it's definitely, you can see C0, C1, C3, C4. Yeah, but that's the old-fashioned way. There is another way you can transpose now. Where is it? It's under the editing parts. Scale.
Yeah, but scale should move your half steps,
No,
not your octaves.
you can transpose them into a scale or add intervals chromatically or in a key. That's the new feature. So before you couldn't do that. I mean, you could do it, but you had to you had to like fit it to scale first, and like there's all this shit here, right?
It was destructive.
It was destructive. Yeah.
Okay.
So
So it's like modifiers in Blender. If anyone uses Blender.
anyway, so there's that.
My question was because the thing you were playing was too low for my headphones. If you could play it higher, so I can hear the difference in the notes and the patterns.
Yeah, you need a pluck sound.
I do need a pluck sound. That is correct, Darren. You're always correct. Always making me look like a fool. No, just kidding.
That's his job.
Do we have a look at a pluck sound? Find a pluck, guys.
Where the pluck is it?
I'm on the wrong
Find a
synth.
guitar.
I'm on the wrong synth for this. Let's change the synth to something else.
Yeah, you should just get a
How
general
dare
synth
you.
that's got everything, and then just pick a pluck. Just easier to show that way.
Or
Yeah.
bass.
Let's just get rid of that. Why don't we go... We'll go shitty. We'll go really shitty. We'll go Roland Cloud, and we'll go JV. JV 1080. There's got to be a pluck sound in the JV 1080.
What are
you
you
see, now
implying?
we're cooking on gas. Now we're getting into some serious synth work.
Really?
Proper synth.
You're doing it on purpose, are you?
Proper synth. Get the cheesy pluck.
Bank.
Who are you calling
Okay.
cheesy?
Well, you wanted a guitar
1080 has some
sound.
good sounds on it.
You wanted a guitar sound, right?
Yeah, I've
And
got
if
an
you could
XP.
Tell me about it.
Guitar, 1, 2. Yeah, 1, 2, 2, 1,
Andy.
2, 3. One of those.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Andy, tell me about it. I have them all.
Okay, is this...
How bad could it be?
That's what that sounds like.
Pretty bad.
Let's hear it.
Okay. Wow.
Whoa. I think you need to get rid of some of those.
There you go. It's strumming it.
Hell yeah.
That is cool.
It is.
There you go. I mean, it doesn't sound that great musically, but that is actually really cool. I actually like that new effect. I like that. Who cares
Cool.
about how it sounds? I just like it. Right. Okay. I'm gonna move on to some other stuff in a sec. But I just thought while I was showing you some of the MIDI features, I think they're pretty cool. The new MIDI features, like especially like the one I just showed you, the strumming and that. Do you guys like any of that? Is that cool? Any questions about that?
Yeah. Pretty cool.
We're
Very
gonna Get
cool.
my new computer to get the new Ableton.
Okay.
Sono Platinum's had that stuff for years.
Oh, I know, and some of the other DAW. This is the thing. Like, if you could get all the DAWs and literally just put them in a mixing bowl and go, and out comes
Cherry pick.
the proper DAW that stop
Yeah.
fighting with each other, people, and just be lovers and just make a baby DAW that's got everything cool in it.
Yeah, but it's a matter of time because that's where all of them are directing themselves. They're working towards that,
Yeah.
to the
All right.
pan DAW.
Let's have a look at the next part, which is a couple of the new features of it, like the Meld synthesizer, which I think is actually really, really cool. The Meld synthesizer is brand new. It is part of Ableton 12, so you can't get it on any of the others yet. So I've got an instance here of Meld, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down and we'll bring up the interface of it. View, device view, and then we'll come in a little bit closer for you guys so you can see this Meld interface. So what this synth is, it's a bitimbral MPE compatible instrument for deep sounding shaping that lets you sort of create textural and experimental tones, and it's got a macro oscillator section, which I like. Right, so you've got A and B, and you've got A and B here, right? So the interface is kind of easy, but look at these oscillators. So these oscillators, you've got basic shapes, so you could have dual basic shapes, single shapes. You can have all of these noisy shapes, square, sinks, square, fifths, harmonic FM, fold FM. That's what a fold FM looks like. So you've got like lots of control over different sounds, right? Then you've got all your standard sort of things. Okay, let's have a longer envelope. Filters, state variable filters. You've got EQ notch, phaser, reducing, comb filters. Probably wouldn't do a very good job in this. Let's try the 24 dB. And what else we got? Tone. And different shapes. What do we do? We'll do a bit grunge with it. Let's get rid of fold FM. I don't like that as much. Let's do like a swarm saw. Can we turn this one off? I think we can, can't we?
Click the little B. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little B.
No, I did the B on the oscillator. Yeah, there.
Yeah, there.
My God, I can use Ableton.
Look at that spacing.
That's not bad.
That's going very lush.
I'm only pressing 2 notes on my keyboard right now. I'll just press middle C. There you go, it's 1 note.
Oh, it's the THX logo sound. It's the THX logo sound.
That never resolves.
I mean, this thing is insane, right? This is insane, this synth. And I reckon a lot of people
I
are going to have...
watched something out of the Evil Dead.
You're going to have so much fun with this. Like, look at all the different cool little oscillators. What's tarp? What is tarp? Like, that looks cool. Like a bass sound, right?
It's a kick drum maker, yeah.
So you just have fun with all these, like squelch. What's squelch? You're just going to have so much fun with this. And it's all at your fingertips, basically. So I reckon you guys are going to have a lot of fun with Meld. And what I'm thinking is with Meld, is I think some hardware synths might take some of these ideas. Because I think there's some new ideas in that synth. Okay, so that's Meld. The next one is... okay, Raw is a plugin. So I'm going to drop that into... Meld. Okay, so now we've got that Meld sound, and I'm going to bring it through this Raw thing. So what is Raw? Raw is like this overdrive thing on steroids. Basically, it's subtle to precise mastering grade warmth to wild and unpredictable sounding degradation with color and saturation. It's got 3 saturation stages that can be used in a series, parallel, or even mid-side multi-band, because you can sidechain on all the sort of stuff, all the Ableton things you can do. There's a feedback generator, and there's also algorithms that you can choose for it. I should probably zoom out. I just made that even bigger on your screen. That's all the features that you get with Raw, by popping up top there. When you click on that little arrow, look at that. Woo. What can we do with this thing? You can pre it, post it. Let's do another one. Let's add this baby in. What have we got here? You've got shapers, tone amounts, LFOs. All this stuff is modulatable. What was I going to do? Drop. Insane. You can sort of subtle it a bit. So this is basically like this overdrive, like whoever loves overdrives and saturations and stuff, this is on steroids. And if you like sort of making your sounds more saturated, this is cool. That's raw.
Reminds me a bit of Isotope Trash.
Yeah, and what's that other thing that you can get, the plugin? Not the plugin, the hardware, Analog Heat. Is it Analog Heat?
Yes.
From Electron?
That is a Electron product.
Yeah. Anyway, next one is the Granulator. Granulator is another synth. It's called, I mean, they've had Granulator before. This is Granulator 3 now. It's the Robert Henke's Granulator instrument now has MPE, and it gives you obviously expression control with MPE like vibrato and glissando and things like that. Now you can also capture audio in real time and start manipulating it, because it is a granulator synth. So I have not tried this before, but what we could do is we could send the output of that JV, which was right, we could send that into Granulator and see if this works. I don't know how this works, but we could. How do I do it, guys? Where's the sample? It's at a real time.
You just got to drop a sample into it, or can you pass it through?
That's what I'm thinking. It said it should be able to do it. Oh, here we go. Source input. There we go. Boom.
Right.
There it is there. So it is bringing it in. And then what now? We have to use this as a synth, I guess. So, right. How do we get this thing to capture? There we go. Look at that. How cool is that? That was instantaneous. I love it. Right, let's zoom in on this thing. You guys know how to use granular synths, right? This is not a new thing, right? But I love having fun. You can have endless fun with granular synths, right? And you guys know this. So that's the new feature, that you can capture stuff on the fly, which is cool. Which, hey, you're a DAW, you should be able to do this shit, guys. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, let's get rid of that, and let's put that back to how it was. What's next is different packs now. There's new packs. Lost and Found is a collection of sounds fashion. I've got all the packs installed. Did I put them in here?
But you can't make a perfect DAW anyway, because once everyone's bought it, then no one would want another DAW.
That's it, yeah. And they can't upgrade it then, can they?
No.
Oh, okay. So the other thing I wanted to show you guys, I've got this one ready to go, is the CV stuff. Okay, there's new CV things, but I mean the CV implementation in Ableton 11 and 10, 11, let's say 11, is much better than. So it hasn't really improved in that sense in 12, but they've given us a few new things from Max for Live that you can download. What I'll do is I just want to quickly show you guys. I've shown you guys this before, so it's not like brand new. You're not really seeing anything brand new here. I'm not trying to sell anything to you guys in this particular sense, but let's get the camera onto my Expert Sleepers module, and I don't know how good this is going to pick it up. I might need to okay. Right, So there's my Expert Sleepers module there. What I'll do is on Ableton, I've gone in and pre-programmed, so this is why you can see on here, it says ES8-1. If I change that to ES8-8 and I click back to my camera, you can see that's going from orange. It actually is blue. The camera's not showing it that well from this particular angle. There is another angle I could probably show you. Not Black Magic. Which one is it? Which one? Oh, I think it's gone dead. The camera. Yeah, sorry, the camera's gone dead. I'll try. Anyway, what you can do, obviously, with that is you can get a patch cable and you can go, oh, look at that. I can send that somewhere, right? But, whoopity-doo-dah, I've got LFOs in my eurorack. What's so good about that? Yeah. That is generated from your DAW, my friend. You can change this to different waveforms. There's sines, there's random, there's different rates, there's depths, offsets, phases, all sorts of stuff, right? So now that is a random waveform coming out of that, going to wherever I want to send it. Where do I want to send it? I don't know. Somewhere. Where can I send it to? A filter? Something like that, right? You could send it to anything you like. So that's the point. Now, with all of these CV things that are in your DAW like this, you can record them as well. So I could record that as a clip, and then I can play that clip back, and then I can send it through a DC coupled audio interface back out into my hardware. So a lot of these CV things that are happening now, and Bitwig is probably one of the best ones that you can get for CV manipulation, I believe anyway. But a lot of the CV stuff that you can get now is actually really, really cool. Where did I see it in here? Is it Audio Effects? CV? Yeah. So in your menu, I'm going to tell you about this in a sec. There's a new sort of search engine in Ableton now. So you probably would have noticed, see all these little tags here? They didn't have this filters any before. And everything now, when you buy a plugin and things, they're all going to come preloaded with filters, and it makes things easier to find. So say before you had to use the search, and you might, I don't know, say I wanted to look for a flanger, right? And the only way to do it was to type flanger in, and it was pretty bad at finding stuff. And if you wanted to look across everything, you had to then scroll through the list, right? Well, now you've got these content filters here that you can say, okay, well, I just want a format type flanger in AU, then bang, it's found that one for me. So it's kind of handy having that, because you can sort of then drill down with your search. So in this case, I want to search for CV, right? Let's have a look at all the CV stuff, and I think it's pretty cool. So for example, there's envelope followers, clock in, clock out, there's CV instruments, and the LFO obviously is the one I showed, CV shapers, CV triggers, CV utility. So pretty cool. Let's go back to our CV device, and we'll just show you that again. So I can change the output of that to any of my other channels. Okay, so let's say I want to output that to, I'll just zoom out for you guys so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to create a new audio channel here. Just go new audio channel. You can just go Command T on your computer. Go back to my CV. Actually, let's call this CV recording, right? And this is pretty cool. So you arm that track, go back to our CV track, and I'll zoom in so you can see it better. I can now output that to my CV recording track. Okay, and now you might think, whoop-de-doo, you know, what's so good about that? I can now create a clip, and it's literally recording. See that waveform? Can you guys see that, how it's recording that? Okay.
Yes.
Right, now, let's do... That is now a clip, okay? And with all clips in Ableton, you can then shrink them, grow them, whatever you want to do. So let's make that a 4-bar clip, okay? And we can move that anywhere we want along that little random CV. But now, what I can do with that clip is, now that's an audio clip, right? I can now set that to auto, and I can send that to an external out. In this case, remember how we said we mapped it already to ES8? Now I can choose ES8 as my output. And so I don't need to have this thing running anymore. Okay, I can turn this thing off. I don't know how we do it, but turn it off. No output. There we go. That's off now. Cool. All right. So now, if I press play, you can see this is sending that out there. Okay. That's sending. It's like it's playing audio. As far as you're aware, that's playing audio. But it's not audio, because if you've got a DC coupled audio interface, it's now control voltage. Look at that.
Cool.
Now, just to prove to you that it's actually sending it, I'm gonna move it from 8 to 7. You can see that's 8 there, right? The one above it is 7, which is just that little blank spot just above it, and you guys will be able to see that. I'm gonna move it in Ableton, so I'll go back to Ableton, and we're gonna change that here from 8 to 7. There we go. Now it's 7. Okay. And you can still see it's sending it out to 7 there. And if we go back to our thing, we can see that is now not on 8 anymore. It's on 7, and I need to move my cable. Look at that. And that is a recorded CV, people.
Awesome.
There you go. What's the benefit to you guys to recording CV? Have a think about it.
Automation.
Control.
Yeah.
Automation of our eurorack.
What is Ableton really good at? Darren,
Improvisation.
This is a big aha moment for you, mate. Because you could probably send this to your Akai Force, right?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes.
Yeah. So because Ableton and Force...
That was a big aha moment for me to unmute myself.
Yeah. Because Ableton and Force are kind of like talking. You can actually send Ableton projects into Force and vice versa, right? You could actually send that modulation recording into your Force, have it as a clip, launch it, and it would send CV out, because you know one of your types of tracks you've got in Force is a CV track. So you could do that, or if you want, you can just plug in a CV interface into the back of your Force, because it's USB based.
This is why my Live Rig 2 was growing. You see, after seeing Jim's, which is just ridiculously huge.
Yeah.
I thought I can't quite compare with that, but you know, if I get it so it looks like it, there might only be like 2 things there, but it looks like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I can evolve the set.
Plug this in.
Yeah.
So we can hear it. I thought I'll just plug it into like an oscillator, so it's like randomly adjusting the pitch, right, of an oscillator. There we go. We'll do that. Keep talking.
Yeah. My Live Rig set, the second version of it is so it can adapt, because the first one was just, first one just trying it out. The second one is so that I can adapt it, grow it, but keep it within the confines of moving it reasonably well. Still need a truck, but at least I can get it there.
Portability.
I tell you what I was having more problem with is actually the power and the plugs was the problem. Putting the stuff in how I want it, that's fine. Getting the power and the anything else I need to go, that's where the problem comes. That takes up space somewhere.
That stuff. But yeah, I mean,
hopefully there'll be.
I've just got one plug socket that comes from my main case, and then the plug for the sub 37. And that's it. That they just plug in. I've got other power supplies, everything all hooked in.
That's what I'm trying to adapt now.
Yeah,
that's the bit I'm trying to get around. So, but yeah, there might be a sneaky peek of it all set up. So keep a lookout on Facebook at some point. in the next day or two. Because there's other bits going on for it as well. It's not just music.
Ooh, I'm expecting to see a giant inflatable rave, Dave. with flashing lights, vomiting palmers.
Palmer violets.
Palmer violets. Sorry.
Don't give him ideas. He's bad at it.
It doesn't need any encouragement.
He's helped me with this set anyway, because it's the last set I did. I never played the full set because there was a lot of stuff that you want to hear in the other set, which I think was doing about 125 beats per minute.
Right, shift it up. It's too low.
So it was changing, but this is going to be more 140, a bit more mental, a bit more. I say there's even a Jim Glue bit in it at some
there.
point.
A bit more hectic.
There it is.
Rance is bleeping.
That's that little CV recording I did.
Wow. Okay.
So that's just controlling. And now I've turned it off. It's not controlling the pitch at all. Turn it on again. So it's pretty cool. And I kind of feel like, in a way, we should embrace a little bit more of waveform recording. I feel like it's kind of it's a gateway for you guys to think to yourself, what I'm using sequencers for now versus what I could be using them for in the future. That will kind of, just let yourself think, okay, modulation's one thing, pitch is another. Oh, I can record CV, that's another, right? So it just opens up a little bit more of your world. And it's not, like I said, it's not a feature of Ableton 12. It's just that Ableton 12 is getting better at it than what Ableton 11 was, and there's more features in Ableton 12 now. And when you think about it too, with some of the new other viewing features that they've got in Ableton now, where you can actually see things a bit better. Like, for example, I showed you before how I could look at when you're in the arrangement view, this view here, before it used to be, I complained about this when I made my album actually. In Ableton 11 and previous, you could not look at your channels in this view.
Yeah, your
mixer. Now you can. So I just go in here and I just go mixer, and there they are. There's the mixer. I can now look at each
arrange and mix at the same time,
which is something that is really handy. And before, the only way to do it is to have a separate screen.
Certainly is.
Yeah, split screen it.
So
can you pop out windows in Ableton?
You can only do the split screen, the second window.
It's not really the
philosophy. So these things here are kind of all inside the main window, but you can you can actually have two screens. You can have two monitors if you want. It's to me, I'm kind of with you, Eddie. I kind of feel like it'd be cool if you could have these things pop out as floatable windows, but in a way, it's. Have you guys used Photoshop and Adobe Premiere and those Adobe products? It's kind of like Ableton kind of annoys me. Like, it's kind of similar to Adobe in that sense. Like you can only dock things into parts of the interface.
Yeah, it's very rigid.
Very rigid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas other DAWs, like, I'm trying to think which ones kind of do it. Cubase, I'm pretty sure you can have windows everywhere.
Oh, yes. As many as you wish.
Yeah.
Producer.
Everything pops out.
Yeah. Now there's some negative things to that too, and that is like where the hell's my bloody window gone?
losing track of where you are. What is what?
I've got too many open.
Yeah.
So I do get the part of it being locked in. It's one of those, isn't it? It has its ups and downs.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but when I'm using a Mac, I I use some of the accessibility features of Apple. It's nothing to do with Ableton. Like, for example, I'm going Command, Option, Plus, and Minus, and I'm zooming in to my interface. Right? So if I want to look at, say, that granulator channel there, I'll put my mouse on it, and then I can zoom right in, and it's delicious. Now. I love it now. I can see things. You know, my old eyesight, I can sit back and I can look at that and go, hey, I can read that beautifully. You know, like I can enable that as a I can see everything going on. And you know what? And I've got more finer control over these sliders now because I can see it better visually. But if I zoom out at 1080p, I don't have that. You know, and that's got nothing to do with Ableton. That's actually probably, in my opinion, a failure of Ableton, that you don't have that granularity of control in some of the areas where you really do need it. And ways around it, you can use a MIDI controller, you can use a fader controller, things like that. There's ways around it, but it's just an annoyance. When you kind of when you get old, you have some, I don't know, handicaps, don't you? You guys, your eyesight fails, and you know, most of us are wearing glasses. Your ears fail.
On eating them.
We're all just failing people.
Yeah.
Mine fail.
Yeah, but one. Sadly, I have to admit that the thing I hate the most about Ableton is becoming really, really practical, because for what I see in 12, I think I had it 10 and they gave me 11, but just the basic, not the full-fledged. I can see that there's more and more subdivisions of the screen, right?
Yeah.
The thing I hate about Ableton the most is the fact that I don't like flat GUIs. I like skeuomorphic GUIs, but because it's flat, they can add more and more and more and more partitions, and still is very clean and uncluttered. I have to give them to them.
It has its pros and cons.
It's kind of future-proof in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's still going to come down to what its power use is, and that is Ableton. I feel like is your clip launcher. That's the powerful part of Ableton. It's the clip launching, the clip arranging. That's where it's powerful. Whereas I kind of feel like, you know, stem arrangement and editing and mastering and mixing, and they're not quite the power parts of Ableton. And in fact, what I do is I use Studio Live for mixing and mastering, because of two reasons. One is I like the interface better, I can see things better. And two is because I feel like it's more integrated with your audio interfaces. So you've got it's more granular. So you've got, you know, if you're mixing something, what you probably don't care so much about is how it's arranged. You just probably care about more about levels and EQs and compression and things that are more to do with, you know, heading down the mastering, you know, tick route. Whereas Ableton is more about arranging and getting it into beat and getting it synced and having everything, you know, having your song made into the start to finish, into the sections, and that's what Ableton's good at. But yeah, look, a lot of people will probably have different opinions, and this is kind of where you guys, as you own your own DAWs, you'll have frustrations with some. And what I suggest is, if you don't ever limit yourself to something. Always think, okay, well, is there a better way of doing it? Like, you know, I'm a YouTuber and I edit a lot of videos, and one of the things I have frustrations with is using Adobe Premiere. I can't stand it. It's like it's like I'm being punished, right? And you know, if I can edit a video quicker in some other way, I'll do that.
Well, DaVinci Resolve, definitely.
DaVinci Resolve, yeah,
it's more reliable.
Yep, much
Premiere
more reliable.
Yeah,
Premiere's a bug. It's just one big bug after another, and the thing is, they keep updating it, and every time they update it, I lose stuff, and I'm like, I have to go onto their forums and go, guys, you moved something. Where did you put it? I need to find it. Like, why don't you just leave things where they are? Anyway, I don't want to go into Ableton.
Leave it alone.
Into Adobe rants, but yeah.
So if you've used any Microsoft Azure interfaces, then they move shit all the time.
Oh, I know.
Just-
Yeah. Oh, mate, I've used it since like SharePoint 1. That's when I started using SharePoint, and to now, I mean, it's complete myriad of
they
craziness.
call stuff by different names as well. They'll just say, "Oh, this is now called that." They don't tell you. You just got to find it somewhere else. It's
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah. Oh, they want you to do their certification course.
But they want you to do their research and their knowledge base. You know, that's what the community's for. It means we don't have to do our own documentation. We just put it out there, and the community will document it for us.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's a real quick overview with Ableton 12. I hope you guys got something out of it. There's other things in there like browser history improvements, accessibility improvements, things that I didn't kind of go into because I thought they were kind of boring. But you guys can check them out. There's videos on their website about those things anyway. I kind of feel like you'll definitely love that Meld synthesizer. I really think you guys are going to enjoy that. And yeah, they're getting better.
Sounds
with MIDI.
cool.
They're getting better. I feel like they're listening with the MIDI. And thank God they put that mixer view in arrangement. Thank God. It's like, yes.
If that's anything they did.
Thank you. Yeah. We've been asking for it since Ableton 7, Darren. So it's taken a while. Maybe it was hard for them to do. I don't know.
That was probably the first thing that I ever noticed when I first started using Ableton, and it was like, that's great. Oh wait a minute, where's my mixer? Oh no, I've got to, because I only had one screen as well, so it sounds.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, they'll put it. You always expect it to come in the next version at some point because it was so obvious. And it was like, no, we won't do the obvious thing. We'll carry on upgrading everything else. We'll leave them.
Can I just add that DaVinci Resolve is owned by an Australian company called Blackmagic Design. They didn't actually write the original DaVinci Resolve software. That they bought it off the company that wrote it. But what they did do is they poured a stack of money into the development of it, and they made it free.
Yep.
And that's an Australian company called Blackmagic, who do things like ATEM switches and stuff like that. If you're into video stuff, they're really cool. So you know.
And they bought another Australian, or at least they're very intricate with another Australian, because I remember all the DSP, all the audio DSP is basically Fairlight.
Not sure about
Someone said something in the chat.
Or did I mistake the video editing software?
Blackmagic owns Fairlight. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I mean, what is
So
there
it's
to
all
own
in
there?
house.
What is there to own? Just the old.
All the sampling,
If you look at the audio,
algorithms.
it's Fairlight. Yeah,
Okay.
it's-
Didn't know that. I mean, yeah.
Remember that
Peter-
Fairlight is
Peter's
the
pretty
father
old.
of sampling.
Peter Vogel's pretty old, so I don't think
Yeah.
he really wants to sort of be doing this stuff anymore.
Yeah, but as I said, remember that Fairlight, at least to my knowledge, is the father of sampling, or at least musical sampling.
Ooh, I don't know about the father of sampling. We're gonna split hairs here.
Yes, yes, we will.
It's one
But
of the first samplers, yeah. It's one of the first.
one of the first available, apart from the
Synclavia.
the one they used on
Synclavia.
thank you. Apart from Synclavia, but I think they basically they arrived to the same board at the same time. They just Fairlight made it cheaper than the Synclavia was.
Different as well.
Cheaper,
Fairlight,
not cheap.
Fairlight had a few.
Yeah.
Fairlight had a few iterations. We got to remember this. The first Fairlight was pretty crappy, the first one, but it did its job. It got a lot of people excited. It was really expensive. It was basically the price of a small house to buy in the day. It was like $35,000 US or something to buy a Fairlight one. It had a CRT monochromic screen. I can't remember if the first one. We need Robbie on the show. I can't remember if the first one had the light pen.
It was.
I think it did.
It was there, but
I believe so.
it's gone.
But
Yes, I think the light pen is the thing that it got removed on the next iteration from the Mark III, I believe. The Mark III didn't have the pen anymore.
Yeah. So when I said I don't think.
Oh, here it is.
I don't think Fairlight were the first to make samplers. I don't mean that
Commercially?
there was definitely companies that made samplers before Fairlight, but Fairlight were probably the first to make like for example, say that you could get a sound, put it in, and then chromatically play it across a keyboard. They were definitely the first to do that.
Then who else? Once again, yes, digitally sampling sounds into the computer. Yeah, probably somebody else had the patent for that. But the first product on the street that could do music out of samples.
I don't think
patents. The early sampling stuff.
Yeah, I don't think patents came into it at that stage because it was real early stuff. But I'm pretty sure Fairlight were the first to bring out the chromatic-based sample playing system.
Robbie's in the chat. He's texting you.
Series 3 had the pen. Okay. Not just the light pen.
Thank you. Never knew.
Yeah. There you go. So I didn't know that Blackmagic owned Fairlight. Cool stuff. Nice to know. But yeah,
or at least has it licensed. I don't know if he owns Fairlight.
I would love to own one, but they are really, really old pieces of hardware now. So, Darren, you better get that, mate.
No, Robbie.
That's the stock market calling you, telling you to sell. It's important.
Sell.
Yeah. We're going to have to end the show here, guys, soon because it is
bumpkin time.
Half an hour over time. Yeah. What I kind of want to get to with sort of like what we do every week on the shows. I like to do a topic, but I kind of feel like I got bitten a bit by doing this Ableton topic because I had a few people say to me, "Oh, I don't think I'll watch the show this week because I'm not an Ableton person." How much of the show today was about Ableton?
Not enough.
That's the thing. It's the format of your show isn't really. I mean, what you say is the topic of tonight's show isn't really the thing you need to have in bold, is it? It's the thing you need in tiny text and then all the regulars in.
We might do a bit of Ableton. I kind of feel like I need to
almost like special.
Change my communication or something.
Special focus this week on. Or no, I guess.
50p's dropped.
Ooh, I thought I'd share with you guys something else too. We all do YouTube. All of us here. I know all of us in this window here do YouTube. So, and I know all of us get nasty comments every now and then. I just want to share with you guys that I got during the week. It was last week's show. This is what this guy Michael had to say about us. I thought I'd share it with you.
I read that. Yeah.
My oh my. He's talking about us being old, all right, and looking tired.
I am old.
He's not wrong there.
But then
I am tired.
But then he goes, my oh my. What? The last person I heard that said my oh my would have been in their 70s.
Maybe they heard it from someone like that and said, "Oh, I'll use that."
Yeah,
that's just a K exclamation.
Right. Actually, can I just stop you there?
Because
that was a day ago. I've not been on it for a few weeks, so at least I'm exempt from that. So I'm not talking about it.
Yeah, because you look so young, Darren.
Darren's vanity is protected. Excellent.
Now, I just want to mention that if I was to work out how many years of experience that we had on that show last week, and just kind of let's just make a point here, it would be, over 100 years of experience in the music industry using synthesizers. Yep. The knowledge, like I've been using synthesizers since I was a teenager, and I'm in my 50s. Robbie Puricelli was on that show. He's extremely knowledgeable about a lot of things. There's other people that aren't here that are on that show. So all I'm saying is that, like, Ian, for example, he's a producer. He owns a record company. He's a recording artist. There's people that are on this show that are guests, and I just want anyone to know that if you ever read a comment like that, and that comment is, it can be a little bit hurtful to some people. Please don't take them seriously. Honestly, this person probably was on the glass barbecue and he was probably smoking a bit too much meth, amphetamines. I'm not sure what's going on, but I want you all to know that your knowledge and your time is much, much appreciated on the show. And
not me.
and let those
Also,
people
don't
just
forget
go.
he's an anonymous guy, and he's not on camera
Exactly.
on the spot, and so he can
And-
say whatever he wants. I mean,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had infinitely more positive comments about the thank God
Yeah.
so much. You guys are so knowledgeable. So glad that I can watch you on YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So many more comments.
So one of the things is, like, last week we did a show was about
chat
NAMM,
as well.
and the first thing I said, and it even says it in the description, is we can't be there, so therefore we're going to talk about what it's like to not go to NAMM, but be experiencing all this bombardment of products being released, which is an experience that we all kind of share, because most people don't go to NAMM. You know, there's one person in this chat window now that went, right? And we had him on the show and we were talking to him. So we even had a person that went to NAMM and we were sharing his experience with us. So, you know, it was only on for a little while, but we still got something
Yeah,
out of
but
it.
you can't please everybody, so someone's going to be negative no matter what. So
People watching YouTube
This
often
is why
have
Eddie
a
wants to go in VR.
very, very quick reaction to things if it's not what they expect. They have amazingly visceral reactions. It's like, so they watch 10 videos of, people being at NAMM, and then the next one, and then they get asked one, and they go, what the hell's this? There's no NAMM footage, they're not at NAMM. Keyboard Warrior starts up, and they probably, half of them possibly do regret it after they've typed it, but most of them just can't remember what they did the night before because they were too pissed.
Well, it's okay because he won't be able to put any more comments in because he won't be watching the show now because he doesn't think it's worth it. So that's what.
Yeah,
it won't be bad commenting.
God, I'm
So
so relieved.
Bye-bye. But the thing is, like, I mean, I probably consider myself quite immature in my head when I go about life. I kind of feel like I'm still about 17 maturity-wise, because that's kind of, I'm just a big kid. I don't look it. And I don't know, I don't think I've ever been called old before. This is kind of like the first time I've been. I've got grey hair. I don't know, I guess I'm getting old. But do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of weird. And yeah, you just think to yourself, like, what purpose does that comment actually achieve? Like, what are you trying to tell me? You're trying to tell me that
Draining.
my channel
It's just
stinks,
draining.
that we're old? What is that? What's that going to achieve? It's like, I don't
You're
know.
out of touch.
It's boredom
guys.
and
It's because you weren't
Yeah.
there, Darren.
Ranzee, really, you know what I'm gonna say, but
If Rave was there, bloody hell.
at this moment, I assume I'm gonna go in a limb, say that it's probably couple million channels in YouTube. Just change the channel, go to the one you love.
And he probably did. You know, he probably doesn't
Exactly.
even know we're talking about him.
but there is a culture of feedback. People feel like, oh, I'm going to influence this big system called YouTube by typing my little comment. Whoa.
yeah, they want to be heard.
No, you won't.
Sometimes you do feel that way too. It's,
Yeah.
but yeah, you really are tiny.
Guys, don't take. I'm not taking this seriously. What I'm doing is
No.
because I know people read comments, that you guys read my video comments. So and I just want you to know that I don't take offense to it, and I just want to make sure you guys don't take offense to it either, because you know, I've been doing YouTube for a long time, and if I started taking offense to comments like that, I would have been gone a long time ago.
You can't be on YouTube and have
Yep.
a thin skin, period. So it's just
Period.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not high profile enough to get comments like that, thankfully.
Yeah. Oh, there's a few friends of mine who get lots of negative comments on their YouTube channels. They're in the synth community. You guys would know them if I mentioned their names. And they get a little upset by them, and I just say to them the same thing, like, just, you know, smile and wave, just let it just float away. It's not really
It can be
important.
difficult. It can be.
Well, it's
difficult
funny.
for
There's a
some
threshold
people.
too. If it was slightly more nasty, you wouldn't have seen it. It would have been filtered. So there's this weird
Oh,
area
okay.
of, like, how much nasty
Yeah.
does it have to be so you don't even see it?
Okay.
So I get occasionally
think I
some
have-
on my channel that I look at the count and they don't add up because some got nixed.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, how
Okay.
much worse were those that got nixed than the ones that are still there? You know?
Yeah. Or sometimes
Okay.
the algorithm doesn't count properly either. I know there's issues.
That too, yeah. It's
Yeah.
true.
I think mine
Oh,
mine is
just quick,
turned off.
Andy, This is completely off cuff. Are you having any more? Are you doing any more astrological stuff? for your channel.
Yeah, Micro and Astro are just behind. The weather been so bad here lately. There's nothing to shoot. It's all cloudy and rainy. So soon.
Come here, mate.
Yeah.
There's beautiful blue skies.
I know.
40 degrees
Welcome to UK.
Celsius weather. What's that in Fahrenheit?
Spring and
Astro.
summer will be spoiled here.
110?
So.
This is a telescope and astrophotography capital of the world.
It is. They actually built them here.
Yep.
40 degrees. C to F.
Oh god! Every day we can look up at
104
clear blue
degrees
skies,
F. There you go,
Jesus.
Mr. Joyce. 104 degrees we had
That-
during the week.
That's why I moved from Spain.
But you don't have the Yosemite
no.
clarity, the
No.
high altitude, and the beautiful skies of Yosemite. Those are pristine.
Oh no, we
Okay.
get if you drive about 3 hours, 4 hours out of my city, Perth, because you get all the noise pollution from the lights in the city. So
How
you've
much
got your-
altitude do you get? You need the altitude.
You don't. You can literally just be almost
flat.
sea level because it's so flat, and you just get
I know, but
beautiful.
7,000 feet is just so clear. It's just really,
Yeah,
really
but
nice.
the thing I feel like
You
with
see,
some
this
of
is
the
why
places-
in the comment you're out of touch. It's a synth show, and now we're on.
I'm out of
This is
touch.
how random it can be.
You
It's coming back.
You started it.
Hey, I just asked
Stoking
the question
the
because I like
flames.
international stuff.
Yeah. Today was a bit nicer. I think we had like 29, 30 degrees Celsius today. So it's like 10 degrees less. But I think we've got
But
another
this is what
one
Mauna Kea
coming up
is
in the
preferred.
week.
There's a high altitude, right?
I understand what you're saying, but there are like for example that big radio telescope that they built 4 hours, 5 hours drive north of here. There's only a few places in the world they could have built it, and the reason why is because they needed the land and they needed the no noise pollution as well. So they needed lack of HF interference. They needed lack of light pollution. There's all sorts of different reasons.
We also have the tracking stations down there too that NASA uses for stuff.
Oh, the
Overall
tracking
tracking
station.
stuff.
Yeah, the Pine Gap, I think it is, isn't it? The
Yeah,
tracking
yeah.
station.
Plus, Ranzee, how illuminated are, for instance, Perth? Because I think from the UK point of view, I think we're talking about different levels of light pollution
Oh yeah.
in the different countries.
Yeah, I mean you can see it from space, the lights, but if you were to
No,
look,
you always can.
if you were to look at the amount of glow, like if you were sitting in a satellite in space and you're looking at the glow of light from like Europe compared to Australia, we're almost we'd be like these little dots, pitch black everywhere else. Whereas you guys are literally just bright, like lights everywhere.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
But
Completely
even
different.
so, my point is in the areas I'm moving. Obviously, I'm not talking Bristol City and London City. I mean, in the area where I'm living, I could very happily use a torchlight walking down the street in the city center. That's how little lighted these UK streets are compared, for instance, for Spain. In Spain, some towns, and I'm not talking cities, I really mean towns, you need shades because we use this orange bulb, I think is...
the old 70s.
Sodium vapor?
Sodium vapor, yeah.
Yeah, sodium vapor. But we use them, a lot of them, very close together to the point that you don't have dark gaps in between. Here in UK,
They had to
here
take
in
them,
UK,
They had to take them
Lead
down.
those are filterable. We have mercury vapor
The what?
lamps here with the multiple spectral lines that you cannot filter out.
yep.
They had to
so
take
it's
them
pretty
down.
big filter.
I remember Australia having some sort of like massive pull down of these lights because apparently there's like they worked out that people with color perception issues and visual impairment and that those lights are really really bad for them because everything looks the same color when you're driving around at night. It literally like the whole world looks orange or whatever it is to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But my
Monochromatic
point is
vision.
how close together we put them to the point that here in UK you can walk in on the town, my town, you can go through actually pitch black gaps in between light posts. That never happens in Spain. One light post merges with the next. That's what I mean. How many levels? And the point is, synthetic is in. I assume it's in the Los Angeles area or Bay Area or close to Los Angeles, and very close on American terms is Las Vegas, which is a fucking lighthouse on light pollution. That's why he needs to go higher to escape all that shit.
we have moved up in the world. We do have LED lights now because they're constantly flashing on and off because they won't stay on.
Their power supplies are gone in.
Is that place? Is it in Norway where you drive down the road and the lights turn on ahead of
Oh
you,
wow!
Oh,
and then they turn off after you leave?
really?
I think it's
Or
Norway.
maybe
or
that's what they try to do here. Got
I
it
like
wrong.
that. We need that.
Green credentials.
Yes, we do.
Right
they
there.
don't have the population to leave them on. You know, when there's no one there.
More
It's
lights
what's-
worth
to
the
pay
grand
for
and
the
less light
bill.
up. We don't need
Yeah.
the light going up.
because everything costs money. Like we all have to understand that if you leave a tap running for a fountain just because it looks pretty, it's going to cost water. It's going to cost lights. It's going to cost
Yep.
And someone was saying in the
And
chat
maintenance.
that people in the UK can't afford to leave their lights on. I understand it, man. Those
Nope.
electricity bills are nasty. They're nasty.
No. Even more when you understand once again
Why
from
did
the
you
Spanish point of view that
on for the past 10 minutes?
I know.
We
Even
feel-
more when
we
you
feel
consider that
privileged for it, Darren. Privileged.
when you consider that in UK because of insurance, house insurance, most of the rent places are 100% electric. I'm lucky because my central heating is gas, but that's it. Nothing else in the house is gas. It's all electric.
Oh,
so
you'll get all
anything
the-
you do goes
You'll
up
get
in
all
the
the
bill.
woke. You'll get all the woke people getting on the bandwagon about having gas heating, mate. What
do you
It's
mean?
not green. It's bad for the environment.
I'm green.
Being green is
I've got
not
solar
green.
panels on the roof.
Let's not get me
Shame
on
we don't
that.
have any sun.
Don't trigger me. Being green is not green.
Yeah, if you live in Moscow, you don't even have to pay for heating. The whole place is centrally heated. They have that oil heating system, whatever it's called. It's the name for it. Someone who's Russian
Yeah,
will
but
be
isn't
able
it
to
all
tell us
going
what it's
pop
called.
now?
I think it was on the news recently where they had some failure with it and everyone started to like freeze to death. It was literally because we don't get much
Bursting
news
all
from
over the
Russia at the
place.
moment because of the Ukraine war, which is kind of sad. I feel.
The conflict.
If
mean,
you look at
it's
it, a lot,
totally
of
sad.
a lot of the communities, because it runs a whole community, doesn't it? So when one pipe goes, that whole community is then out.
People are like freezing to
and
death.
There's a lot of places going
Yeah.
pop. Yeah.
Yep.
Because
Yeah, but you need it
somewhere
there
else.
because they go minus 50 and or even worse in Moscow. Do you need that? But I think it's something very similar in Manhattan, isn't it, Andy? They have some kind of a steam system, very old and crappy.
Oh,
You're muted.
you're muted. Iceland's the best place.
I think
Yeah, I'm
Andy's
not
talking.
well versed in New York stuff. I'm not sure. So
Yeah.
it is
Hey,
old.
guys,
though. I mean,
the films-
damn city's been there a long time.
We need to end the stream. Sorry, it's getting really late.
Sorry.
It's almost 1 a.m. here.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, Chris's
Party
mum's
time.
going to walk in and tell him to go to bed in a minute.
He's been asleep for 3 hours.
My wife is going to tell me off so bad tomorrow. I can just.
Nah, it's
I can-
okay.
I can
Of course,
feel
it's
that.
time.
I could feel the backhand about to hit me.
The walls are closing in.
And on that huge disappointment, as
it's
Jeremy
not.
Clarkson used to say.
Yeah.
And on that bombshell, we need a Stig on the show.
Many thanks to Jim and Andy and
Does
Darren
guitar,
and
does
Chris
solos.
and Eddie for being on the show. Many thanks to all the chatties also for being on the show. We love you, chatties.
Thank
You're
you.
awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All
Thanks,
take care.
guys.
Keep the synth love going. If you see comments like that, guys, just ignore them or just give them a thumbs down or whatever. You know what to do. Otherwise, we'll see you next week for some more Synth Geekery. Thanks. Bye.
Jim, I will be playing over at your side as soon as I get the chance.
Excellent. Nice one.